Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the beautiful Unidome in Cedar Falls, Iowa for the NCAA Division I AA playoffs between Georgia Southern and the University of Northern Iowa. The winner of this one is going on next week to Tacoma, Washington to take on Furman University for the NCAA's Division I AA championship. Hello again, everybody. I'm Bill Edwards, along with Andy Barron, who'll be on the sidelines tonight, and Larry Munson will be doing the play-by-play for us. Larry, this is a team that is exuding confidence, to say the least.
Yeah, we've had a lot of signs of that today, you and I. We've run into them in various places. They're very confident. Northern Iowa coaches are confident. And ignoring the weather outside, thank God we're inside here. Let me say, this is their place. This is their field. These are their fans. This is a tough road to hoe tonight.
And, of course, the noise is going to be one of the incredible factors, too. Andy, they had 6,000 last week. They said that was a problem. They've got over twice that many tonight.
Bill, they couldn't keep them away tonight. Only about 15 minutes ago, there were half as many people. They wanted to get between 10 and 12,000. We think they've got about that right now, and it's one of the reasons why UNI is so difficult to beat here. They'll make some noise.
And, boy, it is cold. But, nevertheless, wind and rain and snow are not going to be a factor in this ball game tonight because we are inside at the Unidome. University of Northern Iowa's Panthers. They'll be taking on the new kids on the block, the Georgia Southern Eagle College. They will meet here at the Unidome in Cedar Falls for the right to go on to that NCAA Division I AA championship. The two teams meet tonight via this collision course. It was 2 weeks ago against Northern Iowa. They are in the purple, and they will be in the purple tonight as we take a look at some of the highlights from the earlier games and the playoff games. This is Northern Iowa. Quarterback Mike Smith firing to Sherrod Howard for their first touchdown. Howard does what's been described, I guess, as the funky chicken. Smith strikes again later. He goes up top and down the middle to Scott Owens as Northern Iowa defeats Northeastern Missouri by a score of 41-24. Meanwhile, in Statesboro at Paulson Stadium, GSC against Jackson State in white. Their bomb diffused here by a beautiful interception by Chris Aiken for the Eagles. Moments later, Tracy rolls out to his right and sees Herman Barron at the goal line. A perfect strike down there.
The station from there.
And it was 7-0 in favor of Georgia Southern. They never looked back after a great defensive effort put on by the Eagles as they blanked JSU 27-0. Then last week, Mike Smith, a sophomore out of Tallahassee, Florida, has that deadly accurate arm. He fires and hits Brian Baker. Baker won't be in the game tonight. He's got a broken hand. The ground game for the Panthers going well, too, as Carl Boyd takes Smith's handoff and carries it home. The Panther defense coming up with key interceptions, too, like this one by Moses Amiable as UNI posts a 17-14 win over Eastern Washington. Over at Murfreesboro, Tennessee, meanwhile, the upset of the season. Georgia Southern, under the leadership of Tracy Ham, scoring here, making it a 7-0 lead. The Eagles have one of their best kickoff specialists in the country. This is Trey Harrell. Folks, he can put them in the next county. Great play here for Eddie Johns. He separates the MTSU quarterback from the football, and coming out of nowhere, John Richardson scrambles on all fours for it. Gerald Harris carried it home from the 1. Then late in the half, with just 22 seconds to go, MTSU's golden scoring opportunity turned to dust when Nay Young makes a leaping interception in the end zone. The Eagles win 28-21 in an upset stunner against the nation's top-ranked team. So the Eagles are here tonight at the Unidome to take on Northern Iowa. I'm Bill Edwards. Andy Barron will be on the sidelines. Larry Munson will be back up with us in the booth. And we'll tell you more about tonight's ball game right after we pause for this.
Time Saver Minute Markets, committed to Georgia Southern excellence in sports and education. Time Saver maintains the honored Golden Eagle status for their contributions as one of 4 major contributors of Paulson Stadium and one of the original founders of GSC football. Time Saver pledges continued support of Georgia Southern, and they appreciate GSC students, faculty, and local customers. Time Saver Minute Markets. There's one near you.
Why is Sea Island Bank the choice of thousands of people throughout Bullock County? Maybe because Sea Island has opened Statesboro's newest banking centers in the past few years. Or it could be the fact that Sea Island offers more services than any other bank in town. Innovative services like option line credit, investor's choice checking, and 24-hour banking. Or perhaps the best reason is service, because nobody gives better service than Sea Island. Nobody.
Sea Island, now that's a bank.
Hi, I'm Irk Russell, head football coach at Georgia Southern College. I'm here for Pride Pool Company. You know I build my team on a strong foundation, and that's just how Pride Pool Company builds their pools, with pride. They handpick only the best filters, pumps, motors, and building materials to ensure the quality you expect in a Pride Pool product. When you think of pools, think Pride. Pride Pool Company in Claxton. Cedar Falls, Iowa. And get the picture now. Georgia Southern will be all in white. White tops and white bottoms. And, of course, the trim is basically black, and they'll have to kick off. And Northern Iowa, as you look at Irk Russell walk in front of the Eagles, Northern Iowa will be receiving. This is a club, the Panthers of Northern Iowa, by the way, who really would rather run it. But they will throw if they have to. They're an extremely confident team from everything we've seen. They have even chartered their plane to go to Tacoma next week. The Eagles will be kicking off. It was 14 below zero when most of us got here about 2 o'clock this morning. However, it warmed up. It got to 8 or 9 above today. Trey Harold will be kicking off for Georgia Southern. And let's check the deep men now for Northern Iowa. Owens will be one of them. This place will seat about 17,000 if you jam them in a little bit in the corners, and from the looks of the crowd, I think we're going to probably go about 14 or 15 tonight. Gonzalez and Owens will be the deep man for Northern Iowa. These two teams have won 22 games between them. And they have only 3 losses. Semifinals, Division I AA. Harold kicks off for Georgia Southern, and the winner is going to be in a national championship thing, and the kick is very deep in the end zone. And Scott Owens, a senior, will down it there. Now, Northern Iowa will put it in play. They're in a dark purple top with gold pants and the white trim as you look at it. Again, they basically run it, but they will throw it a lot. They throw a lot of flares out to the backs. And in some film clips Bill and I have seen, Bill in particular, they went deep right down the middle 2 or 3 times at crucial moments this year. Georgia Southern now all in white and flopping around into that 4-man front. Basically in a 4-4 now as Mike Smith, the quarterback for Northern Iowa, is up there. Backs are split pretty good, you'll notice. And he's going to bootleg off to the right side. Smith, hard on the sideline, complete on the 36 to Scott Frank. And that was Nay Young, a kid out of Savannah, a sophomore, who hit him immediately. And right away, the Panthers of Northern Iowa have struck for 15 yards.
We'll look at it again. At their own 36. Beautiful shot right there on the sidelines. Georgia Southern's been kind of vulnerable to the pass of these last few games, especially.
Northern Iowa up. Flop the receivers. We got 3 men out and looking at a 4-man front again. And Smith this time will go to the tail, and Carl Boyd won't go anywhere. The Eagles jammed him up behind the line. Loss on the play. Not an awful lot, maybe a yard. Lee and Carper. Charles Carper of Ocala, Florida, and Wesley Lee of High Springs, Florida. A couple linebackers hit him. Northern Iowa's offense, Smith and Boyd and Peebles, Owens, Frankie, Howard. Hill is in for Peebles at the moment. They just changed. Boy, they're a confident club. Their coaches and their fans. You expect the fans to be. Northern Iowa, 2nd and 11. Smith again to the tail, and he got knocked down behind the line. Wesley Lee, a junior out of High Springs, Florida, 205-pounder. Hits Carl Boyd.
Kind of surprised to see him starting tonight, Larry. He's not been a starter normally.
No, I thought Charles Carper was starting.
He's basically been on specialty teams, but he plays with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of intensity. He's an excellent player.
Semifinals, Division I AA. Cedar Falls, Iowa, and more snow predicted outside. 3rd down, just about 13. 3 wideouts again. Smith of Northern Iowa back, looking to the right side, complete to the 45, to about the 48, and a first down to little Luis Gonzalez, the flanker. They had to have 13, and it looks like they got about 15 or 15 and a half.
Nay Young on the stop here, Larry, as we watch it again in slow motion. As Smith goes back to pass, I don't know what a boy from sunny Florida is doing here, but he's from Tallahassee, and he fires this one right down the middle. We've been open on this all year long, and I don't think it's going to be any different. There's Nay Young of Savannah making the tackle.
Northern Iowa, 2 passes, so they've driven. Now they have driven 28 yards. They go to the other back. Boyd try to counter at right guard, and the Eagles wouldn't let him move.
Robert Underwood on the stop. He's a Statesboro product.
Underwood, a sophomore, 5'10", 200.
Let's take a look at that Georgia Southern defense, Larry.
Eves, Richardson, Johns, and Jenkins up front on the 4-man front. Durham, Matthews, Carper, and Aiken listed, but Wesley Lee has already been in there. Rossignol and Gore and Young as the deep men. Northern Iowa 2nd and 9, just barely over the 48. Mike Smith dropping back to throw again. Down the middle, complete to about the 38 and knocked back. He hits Scott Frankie. And Nay Young of Savannah, the cornerback, was again the man that stopped. And Northern Iowa's flying right down the field.
One of the characteristics of this team, Larry, is that usually when the opponent wins the toss, they drive right down, and Georgia Southern finds some way to stop them deep and then come right back. So hopefully that'll be the scenario tonight for the Eagles.
Great place to play, and thank gosh we're not outside, Bill, wrapped in blankets or what have you.
I mean, it is cold out there.
Backs are split, unusually wide, about 6 yards. And they hand off quickly. Going to Boyd. He had enough blocking and got to the 30 and penetrated to maybe the 29. This time they swept him off to the right. And let's see how much they're going to give him. About 9.5. Brad Bowen, reserve safety man, a kid out of Panama City, Florida, was the first man that hit him. It's now 2nd and 1. Northern Iowa driving. We're in the early minutes of the first quarter. No score. Northern Iowa won 11 and lost 1. Georgia Southern was 11 and 2 as they come in this semifinal game. Furman's already won. They're already headed for the state of Washington next week. 3 wideouts again. Georgia Southern virtually in a 5-man front. Mike Smith needs only a yard. He bootlegs back off wide to the left. Good run. He doesn't. He throws. It's tipped and intercepted when it's tipped. It'll be the Southern's ball and about the 8. Brad Bowen, the junior, was the guy that came up with it. Very crucial play because the Panthers were really coming down the field.
Okay, here we go again, Larry. Smith going back to pass as we watch it in slow motion. Faking in there. They've been running so well, why they decided to go to the pass, I don't know, but nevertheless, here it comes. Smith firing way downfield. It is tipped by the intended receiver, I believe, and a diving interception there by Brad Bowen inside the 10-yard line. Nose of the football lying right on the 8-yard line, hash mark to our side.
Georgia Southern up to the ball. A deflected interception. They hit it twice, I think. They're on their own 8. No score early. Tracy Ham underneath, 1 back with 3 wideouts, flooded left and a man in motion. He keeps it. Options outside for 3, 4 yards, 5, 6 yards, and almost 10 to the 18 and a half. Tim Moses, a cornerback, a senior, had to hit him. It looks like Tracy got 11, just about 11 before they could.
Okay, take a look at the Georgia backfield right now, Georgia Southern backfield, Larry.
Ricky Harris, Gerald Harris, Tracy Ham, Tony Belser, Monty Sharp. The tight end is Herman Barron. And right off the bat, they got out of the depot. But the interception saved them because Northern Iowa was flying down the field. Northern Iowa now has come up into virtually a 6-man front. The outside linebackers have come up on the corner. Man starts in motion. Ham runs the option of the 22, 25, 27, 29. Tracy Ham running it again. Mike Campbell, a freshman, a defensive tackle. Weighs 240, was a guy that banged him from behind, and the officials at the moment are going to call time. We might have a measurement here on the 29. The ball barely across the 29. Artificial turf, as you can tell, inside this mini dome. It has one of these big nylon ceilings where hard wind suction in the right manner, if the right doors are open, can pull the whole roof down. But you are aware that the King Dome and the one in Detroit also are the same way.
We talked about their confidence, Larry. You know, they said they brought in a high school quarterback. He's got the first down. Brought in a high school quarterback to run an option, to show him how the option is run, to sort of imitate Tracy Ham. That's not possible.
They're a very big club, and they just moved it about 35, 40 yards down the field. They passed twice for the first 28 yards, then mixed it a little better and finally threw it away. And on the play of the interception, by the way, quarterback Mike Smith of Northern Iowa really could have run. They bring the outside linebackers up there in about a 6'4" now, and Tracy on his quick handoff to Harris. Harris breaks a 45-50. Harris is trying to get to the corner. Harris on a long run, touchdown. Gerald Harris of Swainsboro, all of a sudden. 5'9", 200-pound junior, kid with 14 touchdowns, 692 yards. Remember now, there's 3 backs for the Eagles who have a lot of yardage as they mix it up.
That's exactly the way he's done it all year, Larry. And you see the KAs that they just put on there. I think the KAs rented a van to get here for this.
Gerald Harris, the fullback, the one up back on the play. Going one way and then back off to the other. Foley, extra point. Kick is up. Georgia Southern leads 7-0. We'll be back after these words. First 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Georgia Southern leads 7-0.
Here we go on the replay, Larry. Here comes Gerald Harris as he gets by. Good block there. One guy laying down. I couldn't see it, but he was on there. We'll show it to you here in just again in a moment.
Harold's kickoff deep and out the backside of the end zone. Yeah, that running play started left and came right back.
Trey Harrell has been one of our real good blocking, real good kicker for us, Larry. And here's the replay again. Here comes Gerald Harris down the field as we watch it in slow motion. And here it's a question of speed. A lot of guys had the angle on him, but he just kept pulling away here. It looked like here at the 15 he was going for sure.
All right, we're 7-0. And people did predict a lot of points in this thing, so keep your eye on it. 7-4. Leading 7-0 early. Mike Smith going to give it to his running back, Boyd, and Boyd tried to sweep it off left, and the Eagles jammed him up.
Wesley Lee in there again on that tackle.
Lee, the linebacker. David Hodge, a reserve linebacker from Vidalia, had an arm on him. It'll be second down and about 8.
Talking about Trey Harrell a moment ago, that had been one of the weak points in Georgia Southern's attack, Larry, was their kickoff in the past few years, but Harrell's been putting them in the end zone all year long.
7-0, Georgia Southern leading fairly early, first quarter. Northern Iowa man in motion off to the wide side. Mike Smith sprints right, stops and fires. Broken up. Nay Young of Savannah got there just in time to keep Gonzalez from coming down with it. Young made a fine play, Bill.
He certainly did, and he's a product out of Savannah High School where he played running back, but there's a flag on the play down here, and we'll have to see what that's about. It's in the backfield. It's against Georgia Southern, as you can tell from the reaction of the crowd.
And again, as we mentioned in the pregame, Bill, this is their stadium, and this is their fans.
That's right, and it's going to be a long one. Apparently, we're going to get to see that here as Mike Smith rolls to pass. It's going to be a roughing the passer play penalty, apparently, against Georgia Southern. That's what it is.
Georgia Southern, first down.
Didn't get a chance to see it there as the camera kind of followed the action, but it was roughing the passer. That was the call.
Northern Iowa sitting just inside their own 37. They're in purple and gold and white as they come up to the line. Georgia Southern all in white with the black trim. Mike Smith of Northern Iowa, after the penalty, out near his 37. Going to go to Boyd, who veered outside. Bounce tackles, and Boyd is over the 50 to the 45. They'll catch him around the 41. Chris Aiken and Nay Young. Aiken and Young, the cornerbacks, had to catch him. Some linebacker hit him, Bill, right on the line of scrimmage and just bounced off.
Yeah, that was Brad Bowen that looked like he had nailed him right there, Larry, but, boy, he managed to get away as we watch it again from behind.
21 yards.
There's Boyd going along, and it looks like Brad's got a good shot at him, puts his shoulder in there good, but he just bounced off and made a great run up the field before Nay Young and Chris Aiken could bring him down over here.
Yeah, 2 men bounced off him, really. One of them really had a shoulder and a headgear. Again, Northern Iowa threatening, sitting out on the 41.5. They trail 7-0. And they'll go to Hill. The reserve fullback will cut inside and got to the 35 for the white shirts. Knocked him back. Brad Bone, the safety man.
They're going to want a penalty here, I think, Larry, but, of course, a little aggressive here after the whistle, but they're not going to get one. I don't think everybody ever heard the whistle.
Well, they got about 7.5 yards on the play. Northern Iowa moving again, getting close again. Remember now, a deep interception by the Eagles saved themselves about 3 minutes ago, right down here in almost the same spot in the field as somebody tipped it outside of the 15, and it was taken around the 8. They split the backs. They have 3 wideouts. They need about 3.5 for the first down, and they're going to get it. Carl Boyd, the little 5'6", 169-pound sophomore. John Richardson, a defensive end, a senior out of Jacksonville, hit him. And Northern Iowa is going to have a big first down on Georgia Southern's 30. Little Boyd has 15 touchdowns and 1,151 yards, and Peebles, who's not much taller but is much heavier, has 970 yards.
Eddie Johns checking back in for Georgia Southern, Larry, on the defense.
3 wideouts. The backs are wide. He's going to give it again. Boyd, who cut back in and got hit on the 29 or so, but lunged forward. Danny Durham of Albany, Jr., a linebacker, was a guy that knocked him off balance. They're going to give him 3 yards and a few inches, and it'll be second down about 7. Southern leading 7-0 because Gerald Harris broke a long play. Hanson and Melkert interchange at offensive center a lot, by the way, for Northern Iowa. It's an unusual thing to see in a football game. Now the backs rotate a little. Boyd and Hill flopped around. Mike Smith, the quarterback, going to pitch it out to Boyd over the 20. And the defender will hit him on about the 15. That was Terry Young of Savannah, a freshman who rode on his back. Northern Iowa really knocking on the door now.
That was an audible, I believe, Larry, when he changed the backs around. Smith saw something open on that right side, and boy, how open was it.
About 11 yards. That's Carl Boyd, their running back.
Young really made a nice tackle there. He was gone.
Northern Iowa sitting on Georgia Southern 16, trying to tie it up. We're in the middle of the first quarter. Southern leads 7-0 on Harris's long run. Smith again to Boyd. He's got blocking. Touchdown.
Nothing to it.
Bill Beals, a big 290-pound senior, a big offensive tackle, throwing one of the crucial blocks for Northern Iowa. Here it comes.
Here we go around to watch Beals make a nice block there. And Boyd is all by his lonesome.
He had 2 blockers, actually, when he was a couple of yards through the hole, Bill.
Absolutely.
7-6. Moat will try the extra point. 7:09 in the first quarter. They stick it down, and the kick is up. The kick is good, and we're all tied up. 7-7. Timeout. We'll be back after these words. Northern Iowa going to kick off, Moat. 7-7 tie. About a half a quarter to go. Southern's broken a long run by a fullback, and then Northern Iowa just drove it. Here's a kickoff, very high, a ball that'll probably be returned on the 2-yard line. Belser up the side, the 10 to 15, trying to come back to the middle and going to get hit around the 24. And Southern will put it in play. Garland McClary, a reserve linebacker, was the first man that hit him.
I'm sorry, Larry. They went 80 yards in 8 plays and consumed 3 minutes and 36 seconds on their scoring drive to tie it at 7-7.
That may have been the marks of a good team, Bill. They just, came right down the field and got it back. Tracy Ham with Gerald Harris as a single back. Fakes to Harris, stands to throw, and wants to go a bomb, and he's got a man out there. Touchdown.
Monty Sharp.
Monty Sharp all the way down, and they struck 75 yards, chased by Moses Amable, a defensive cornerback. Tracy Ham just threw a bomb, and Georgia Southern is right back on top.
He goes straight back to pass. The play to Monty Sharp has been electric all year long. Monty's out there all by himself. He's got at least 2 steps on the defender. He pulls it in the old bread basket, and he's off to the races. Beautiful play.
Stunning play, and that's the second one. That one maybe even more than the other one. Southern scores immediately.
Well, we said it was going to be a lot tonight, didn't we?
Yeah, we wondered if there were going to be a lot of points.
Hey.
6:54 in the quarter, and the extra point is going to be up there, and the kick is good by Foley. Southern leads 14-0. Timeout. We'll be back after these words. Larry Munson and Bill Edwards in the Unidome, or the Mini Dome as it is, up here in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Watch them strike here.
Here we go.
The Eagles get the 7 points back.
Tracy faking to Gerald Harris here.
Almost right away.
Yeah. Just a gorgeous play when it works, Larry. Like I say, he had about 3 steps on his defender, Monty Sharp, out there. He does a magnificent job. He has been Tracy's primary target for the last couple of years, although with some other guys in the lineup, such as Ross Worsham, Tony Belzer, Herman Barron, the pressure has been off a little bit on him. So they've been able to fake it to some other people out there. It's helped a lot.
Cherry Harrell trying to kick off. Tacoma, Washington, waiting for the national championship on Division I AA. That's next week for the winner of this one.
Isn't that interesting? Georgia Southern, within about 150 miles of Furman, might be going up all the way to Tacoma to play for the championship.
Well, they got a shot at it. There's no doubt about it. Tremendous kick. 100 yards in the air and very deep. Scott Owens went back for Northern Iowa and dropped down to receive it. And the Panthers will come up and put it in play. These guys don't lose many in this place. And they played 4 or 5 at home in a row right here. Also, by the way, right here in this dome.
I believe Andy said earlier they've won something like 17 straight here, Larry?
I think that's right.
Amazing.
Mike Smith, the quarterback. Hit 4 out of 5 for 55 yards at the moment. Got a fake and bootleg to the right. Fires. Missed him. Intended for Sherrod Howard, the tight end. Wesley Lee, a linebacker, trying to cover with him. He bootlegged well and scrambled outside and had the defensive end, Eaves, chasing him 2-3 steps.
Looked like it was right in the chest there, Larry. He just either bounced off his shoulder pads or something.
He had it. 14-7, Georgia Southern leading, 6:49 to go in the first quarter. Now, they both started like we're going to need a computer. Let's see. Mike Smith over the middle. Great catch to the 38, Scott Frankie, a junior.
Gorgeous diving catch.
Aiken and Lee were trying to cover.
Here we go again. Smith on a straight drive back.
18 yards. At the moment, these two teams are killing each other. 14-7, Southern leads on 2 long plays. 1 on the ground and 1 in the air. In that 4-man front again. Smith going to give it to the back and let Boyd come out. He got a block. Got up to maybe the 47. Brad Bowen, safety man, had to get him. Caballero, the senior guard, was a guy that helped lead him out for Northern Iowa.
Great block by Caballero in there. Offensive linemen never get as much credit as they deserve, I don't think. Here we go. You can watch you can see Caballero's block as we watch it again from behind, Larry. There's the handoff to Boyd. Caballero's number 69. Watch this. He puts the shoulder right in there. We go back live.
Man in motion to the strong side, and they run Boyd. Tried to run a little trap at the guard and only got a couple of yards.
But that was enough for the first down, though.
Carper, the linebacker, may have been the first man on the stop. Wesley Lee was also in there. And Northern Iowa, for the 3rd time, moving the ball and coming down. They've now crossed the 50 into Georgia Southern territory. 14-7, Southern leads, 5:36 to go. Smith drops back again to throw. Try to pressure him, so he goes a long bomb, and it is broken up by 2 backs on the 6-yard line. They Young is one of them. Carper may have been the other. No, let's check it. There was 3
Brad Bowen
down there. Brad Bowen.
Here we go. We're watching it as Mike Smith goes back to pass. A lot of folks thought that perhaps there might have been a little too much extracurricular activity by Eddie Johns down there, but no flag was thrown. And he almost could have looked like he could have gotten around and gotten that one for a second there, Larry, but I think he was too far away and going the opposite direction. But a nice breakup. Look at the passing statistics so far, Larry.
75 and 73. These two clubs almost 150 yards between them in the first quarter. Smith back to throw on second down. Over the middle and broken up. A big lineman, Eddie Johns at Jacksonville, a 275-pound senior, got his hands on it, or it was a cinch completion that was about to come up.
Eddie has been one of the defensive stalwarts ever since this program got started, Larry, and he's done a magnificent job this year especially. Moves pretty good for a big guy, too.
Third down. Northern Iowa sitting on the Georgia Southern 49.5. Northern Iowa trailing, and I know that stuns them, 14-7. Getting a little late in the first quarter. And Smith going to go to the back again and get Boyd with blocking for 5 yards or almost 9 down to about the 40. Jesse Jenkins, Brad Bowen, defensive guard and a safety man pulling him down. Frank Orey, a senior, was the lead blocker and a guard.
They want him to go for it here.
Fourth down and a yard. They're inside the 41 by 5 inches. They've got to cross the 40 by about 4 or 5 inches also. Northern Iowa, fourth down, big play, 4:49 in the quarter. They're 7 down. There's a gap in there at right guard. Let's see. And they go to Boyd. He had a hold of the tackle. He drives over the 35 to the 32. Farrell Boyd, that little short, chunky sophomore. Danny Durham, a linebacker of Albany, had to hit him.
Watch the gap. That's exactly where they went, Larry. I don't know if he called an audible or not. I don't think he did, but here he comes through the gap.
Oh, they had a hold at that tackle.
Yeah, Errol Peebles throwing a nice block for him downfield.
Northern Iowa keeps coming down the field, trying to tie it up again. Ball in the 32, 14-7, Georgia Southern leading, trying to go to a national championship. Mike Smith going to give it to that back Boyd with blocking. He cuts in. Harper, the linebacker, rode in his back as he crossed the 30 and got about 3 yards. 4:11 to go in the quarter. All offense. This thing is just all offense right now.
2nd and 6.
You've been looking at stuff like this all year?
Yes, sir. Isn't that something?
Second down, about 6.5. He gained 3.5.
The crowd loves it, and of course the coaches have to take him off in a straitjacket after.
Oh, yeah. This drives me nuts if I was coaching defense. Mike Smith fakes, goes out there in the flat and hits his man Owens. Owens cut in, and they hit him on the 23.
Jesse Jenkins got him. Found a crease in there, though.
Wesley Lee, a linebacker. Lee hit him. And the ball is inside the 25 on the 23, 3rd down and a half yard.
There you see Scott Owens.
They haven't even got a half yard to go. 3:17, clock moving. We're only in the first quarter. Boy, has Northern Iowa had some drives, but they're trailing. Mike Smith trying to rectify that. 3rd down and inches. He goes to Boyd, and Boyd is in there for a big 3 yards and a first down on the 20. Straight ahead. Remember, I mentioned at the start of the broadcast they had a very big offensive line, and the tackles are 288 and 292. Now, the guards are not big, 220 and 245. The offensive center is 255, though they alternate in that spot a lot. But it's a big offensive line primarily. They've thrown well tonight. They started throwing early. They're sitting on Georgia Southern's 20. They're 7 down. He goes to Boyd. Boyd's got blocking. He's going to come outside that tackle. He's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards, almost 10. Frank Orey, that senior guard, pulled out to lead him. Charles Carper, a linebacker, had to come over there. Terry Young, the cornerback out of Savannah, 9-yard gain. Look at those guys.
Watch the blocking here, Larry. Get him outside. And he makes a nice move back to the inside. Got about 3 or 4 more yards out of that one.
He reminds me of little Lionel James of Auburn, the guy they called the Little Train.
Right.
5'6", 169. 2nd and 1. Northern Iowa again knocking on the door, trying to tie it up. And Boyd got hit, and I think he's down on the line.
Jesse
Underwood
Jenkins
was one of the men that crashed through.
Underwood and Jesse Jenkins were the 2 guys that got in there, Larry.
Jesse Jenkins from Bon Air. It's 3rd down. They still got a full yard to go. 14-7, Georgia Southern leading. Gerald Harris broke a long play, almost 70. And then came a 75-yard bomb.
Look at the stats on Carl Boyd right now, Larry.
Already 16 carries, 101 yards, 3 wideouts. The backs are wide. Smith looking to tie it up, looking, throwing. Touchdown, I think, yes.
Scott Frankie.
Scott Frankie, the wide receiver, and here we are, 14-13.
It was a beautiful play, and Chris Aiken was there just a second too late as you watch it again. Frankie going running around, and here's Mike Smith just throwing a beautiful pass right down the middle. Aiken was there just a fraction too late. And we'll watch it once more from a different angle. Smith back to pass. Right over the middle. Look at Aiken diving. I thought he had it there for a second. Point is good.
Extra point is good. Moat put it up high on that net here on the Dome. Timeout. It's 14-14. We'll be back. 14-14 tie. Bill Edwards, at this moment, the odds are 20,000 to 1 that we will not see a punting duel tonight.
Boy, you've got that one right. I don't think the punters may as well just go ahead to the showers, Larry.
Georgia Southern's going to have to score how many touchdowns to stay in it?
14 plays was Northern Iowa's drive on that one, going 80 yards.
We had 2 80-yard drives and 2 other drives that were between 40 and 50.
I think we're going to have a basketball score here tonight.
Well, you might be right. 82 seconds left. We're still in the first quarter. Tie. Tony Belcher, deep man in the middle, and Moats kickoff. Belcher floats over to the 2-yard line, to the 5, to the 10, up the sideline, Belcher, all the way to the 40. Joe Fuller, number 11, a senior safety man on the kick covering team for Northern Iowa, had to hit him.
Here we go again.
They had a little crease for him over there on that side. He got it good and high. He ought to cover that kind well.
Got some good blocking down there, especially that one on the side. I can't quite see who that was, but here goes Belcher cutting it back inside. And finally, Mike Colpin and Joe Fuller bring him down.
Spotters tell me Edward Eaves threw a pretty good block on Georgia Southern's kick receiving team. Tracy Ham walks up to the line. He cannot hear. He tells the official, what are you going to do? 14-14.
The official told him to start playing.
And they go to the fullback, and they bobble the ball going in there for a moment. Gerald Harris, who broke a long run immediately in the game, 200-pound junior. About 2.5 yards. Braced the tackle, and Farley, a linebacker, hit him. Second down, 7.5 for Georgia Southern. We have not seen a lot of plays 2.5 yards in this ballgame. 14-14 tie. 3 wideouts. They have one back. Ham keeps it, wants to run the option. He cuts inside. Ham's got 10, 15, 20. Got a block from the receiver down to about the 31. Darren Chandler, a freshman out of Atlanta, throwing a block. Moses Amable, senior cornerback, fought the block off and pulled him down.
He really did a good job fighting off that block, too, Larry. Otherwise, Tracy's gone.
Got about 25, 26 yards. Ball sitting outside Northern Iowa's 31. Georgia Southern trying to come right back.
We're inside 30 seconds here.
They led 7-0 and tie 7-7. Then they led 14-7, then tie 14-14. This might be the last play of the first quarter. They're hollering, trying to bother Tracy Ham, and he's hollering at his slot men and receivers, and he pitches it now wide. Harris, and the defense gets him on the corner around the 28. Tim Moses, a cornerback, and Dave McCorby, a reserve safety man, hit him, and that should end the quarter, and it does. End of the quarter, 14-14 tie. We'll be back in a moment. 14-14 tie. And Georgia Southern now knocking on the door.
Okay, we're going to talk to Andy Barron along the sidelines just to see what he's got. Andy, how's it going down there?
You can't believe the activity down here. It's like whoever gets the ball last is going to score. The receivers are doing a great job for Georgia Southern tonight. Monty Sharp, of course, with a great catch. Belzer's throwing good blocks, but Mike Smith is picking the Eagles apart a little bit.
Andy down there in front of the KAs.
Second down, Second down, about 7 or 6.5. Georgia Southern inside the 30. Run a little trap and drive him over the 25, and that's Ricky Harris from Harlem, Georgia, 190-pound junior. At 948 yards this year. They're going to mark his knee down, I believe, on the 22 or 23. Price, the tackle. Mark Farley, the linebacker, again. Northern Iowa had 189 yards total in the first quarter. Georgia Southern had 190. That close. That's almost 380 yards in one quarter between them.
A whole bunch of substitutions just came in for Southern, Larry. Burke likes to shuffle them in.
They're down a short yard. They go to a power eye, and they drive him off the tackle, and that's Gerald Harris, who had the first touchdown in this game on a 61-yard run, and he drove it in there 3 or 4 on a first down and made Joe Fuller, the safety man, stop him. Look at Georgia Southern sitting down there on Northern Iowa's 18, and they are in Northern Iowa's backyard and on their field and in front of their people.
And just had a good shot of the Georgia Southern cheerleaders who made this trek 25 hours in a van, Larry.
I talked to those people, a lot of them. Yeah, a bus and a van, 24, 25 hours.
You heard a bus lag? They got it.
Georgia Southern sitting inside the 18, and Ham recovered his own fumble on the 18. Ed Grimes, a 235-pound senior end, the first guy that hit him, he faked to the full and barely hung on.
It looked like one of those plays where he didn't want to hand off or decided to change it at the last second there, Larry, and then couldn't get the ball.
Gained not quite a yard, 2nd and 9. Gerald Harris, at the moment, has 68 yards rushing in this game, but remember, he broke 161 yards.
That's right, yeah. Southern lucky not to lose yardage on that play, or the football.
The football especially. Northern Iowa's come up into about a 6-3 now. They're really jamming in close. Tracy Ham trying to go audible with them. Ham's got 48 yards rushing, by the way. He's back to throw. Got time. Down the middle, almost intercepted. There was no receiver close enough. Intended for Monty Sharp. He was short and low. Dave McCorby, a reserve safety man, had a real good shot to intercept that for Northern Iowa.
For a second, I guess he was trying to throw it away or something, although it was easily interceptable there.
14-14 tie. These two teams are eating each other's defense alive. I mean chewing on each other's defense. Early, very early in the second quarter.
Both Herman Barron and Tony Bells are in the ball game now. Very good primary receivers. And they're split out to both sides.
They're down 9 or 9.5. They're sitting on about the 17.5. Georgia Southern is trying to break a tie. He's in trouble. A little screen that is deflected and almost intercepted. Jeff Fields was the guy, intended for Gerald Harris. They had set it up. They had the blockers for the fullback, but the defender deflected it. They really poured in on Tracy Ham, and Tim Foley will try to go for a field goal, which might be a big thing in this game, though I admit they're both just racking up touchdowns at the moment, right and left. Sharp is going to hold it on the 25 for Georgia Southern. Northern Iowa, 8 men on the line. The tie ball game may not be tie. Long, powerful kick. The kick is good, and Georgia Southern's leading 17-14. Timeout. Southern leads 17-14. Be back after these words.
The Statesboro Herald. We'll put you in touch with the Eagles like no one else can. For home delivery, call 764-9031.
Here in Cedar Falls, Iowa. More snow predicted tonight. The snow was not the problem when we landed. It was the violent temperatures of 14 below. Georgia Southern in white and kicking off, which means Trey Harold. 13:02. We're that early in the second quarter, and there's already 31 points in this game. Georgia Southern leading for the third time, 17-14.
They have played exciting football this year, Larry.
Wow, you better not go to a concession stand here. At least not this one tonight. Harold kicks. Tremendous. Deep again. Andy, what do you got over there?
What I've got are a bunch of Georgia Southern boosters who are just going crazy. Patty Clark is right above us. Patty, when's the scoring going to stop?
I don't know. It's going to be a rough one. Tim Foley said before the game at halftime we'd know who the winner is. I don't think we're going to know at halftime.
Thanks, Patty. Outstanding excitement down here. Larry?
All right, Andy. 13:02. All that time left in the second quarter.
Mike Smith, with his back split and 3 wideouts for Northern Iowa, looks at a 4-man front, got a lineman in front, comes off to the right, down the middle, too high, and 2 men intercepted and dropped it on the 37. Intended for Howard, too high. Georgia Southern could have had it, and Lee and Gore, a linebacker and a safety man, were banging into each other as both went for a ball that was going to settle right on their hands.
I don't think they saw each other, Larry, as we watch it again, because Lee came over, I think, actually knocked the ball out of Gore's hands. Watch it. It goes down the middle, batted up. Lee thinks he's got it. Gore's trying to dive for it, and they knock it away from each other.
Boy, and they had room to run with that.
Didn't they, though?
Northern Iowa second down at the 20. Here's that little boy, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. Eddie from behind, a kid from Alberton, a junior. Pulled him down barely, and that little 5'6" guy is hurting us. Flint Matthews, a linebacker from Lincolnton, also helped. He got 9s. Third down and a yard. Northern Iowa trailing 17-14. They probably can't believe it, Bill. They've been behind 3 times in this game.
That's right. They jumped off to a 17-0 lead last week against Eastern Washington here, Larry, and then had to hang on for dear life to win it 17-14.
Georgia Southern in a 4-3, and they get Boyd out with blocking to the 33 for about 4 yards. Chris Aiken, a cornerback, and Warnell Anthony. They're over, hit him. Aiken from Charleston. Anthony from Reidsville, Georgia.
Aiken's a transfer student in from a junior college out of North Carolina, Larry, and now the folks in Charleston are glad they can come down to see him. He's been a welcome addition to that secondary. He's made a lot of great interceptions this year at crucial moments.
Northern Iowa in purple, gold, and white. They're on their own 33. They're 3 points down very early in the second quarter. He fakes, got a lineman as he pulls to the left. He's going to the far corner and dumps it incomplete on the sideline, throwing it low. May have thrown it away, intended for Kyle Boyd. Maurice Barron out of Baxley, Georgia, a junior defensive end, was trying to hand fight the blockers and go all the way to the corner with him. 17-14 Southern leads. We're very early in the second quarter. This thing has been lightning. Southern leads by 3. But, man, has Northern Iowa had some drives. 3 wideouts, they split 2 backs. Southern is technically in a 4-1 setup. Mike Smith looks at it and drops back to throw. To the back, Boyd behind the line. Boyd, 35-40, 45, Boyd all the way to 45, flag down. Yeah, I think I saw what you guys said.
Grabbed a face mask. Watch, if we get to see it again here.
2 penalties.
Yeah.
We might have 1 offense and 1 defense.
Here we go, and you're going to see Wesley Lee get face masked. He was a defender on the play as Smith drops right back to pass. Fires it out into the flats there. Now watch Lee if you can see him coming down here. I don't see him in the screen yet. No, he's on the ground over there. You didn't get a chance to see it, but Boyd makes a nice run afterward.
They had about a 21, 22-yard play. Northern Iowa did, but some...
Here we go. Okay, we're going to be able to see it from behind the end zone here. Now, you might be able to see him grab the face mask of Wesley Lee as he comes in.
Right
you
there.
See it right there in the corner of your screen?
A blocker reached for him and even twisted his head. So Northern Iowa lost a big play on a careless block. 11:39 to go in the second quarter. 17-14, Georgia Southern leading. Semifinals, Division I AA. The winner goes all the way to Tacoma, Washington, where it'll probably be 34 below. 3-man front. Second down, about 17. Mike Smith of Iowa rolling off to the right with blockers rolling. He's going to run. 25-30 and up to the 34. He got 7 or 8 yards. Charles Carper of Ocala, Florida.
David Hodge.
One of the first men that hit him. Larry Boone, a guard, hit him. A kid out of Conway, Georgia. Ball up on the 34. It'll be, he got 7 or 8 yards. It might be third down and 9. 17-14. Georgia Southern leading at the moment. I'm not trying to jinx anybody, Bill. We haven't seen a punt yet.
That's true.
But the way these 2 guys are looking at each other, yeah, who wants to punt? Right. They're acting like they don't have a punter. 3rd and 9. Smith, the Iowa passer. Open down the middle, first down. They hit him and knock him back. Nay Young of Savannah hit him. He hits Scott Frankie, his favorite receiver.
Frankie just doing a great job as we watch it again from behind the end zone.
13 big yards.
Smith right over the middle. There comes Nay Young. Hit him just a half second too late there, I guess, to separate him from the football. Frankie's had a great game so far.
Northern Iowa splits 2 men left, 1 to the right. They're on their own 48 and moving. They go to Boyd with blocking. He tried to go to the corner, and the white shirts eat him up and won't let him get there. Carper, the linebacker. Jesse Jenkins was there also.
Jesse Jenkins has been a defensive stalwart ever since this program started, Larry. He has been the primary, he's been the #1 tackler on the team, I think, for the last 3 seasons now.
He's a senior out of Bonaire, Georgia, by the way. It's 2nd down and 11 now. Northern Iowa up to the line. And they won't go anywhere.
John Hill,
182-pound sophomore. Jesse Jenkins, the first man on the stop. He moved it about 3.5 or so. 9:23 to go in a half. 17-14, Georgia Southern. In the first quarter, if you just joined us, these two teams literally killed each other. Georgia Southern broke a 61-yard shot off tackle and then a 75-yard bomb. Iowa was trying to drive all over the field. Northern Iowa, 3rd down 7 on the Southern 49. Smith. There he was, complete to the 37.
Scott Frankie again.
Scott Frankie. Spotter tells us that he's his roommate. They obviously spend a lot of time on a weekend.
They work on this one a lot, obviously. And again, Georgia Southern vulnerable to this type of pass. If they don't intercept it, they get burned on it.
After a while, we'll have to count passes in this game. Ball on the 37, inside a little. Then they go to Hill, and Hill starts out and then cuts back in and got over the 35 when he cut back like that and got about 4 yards. Jenkins and Johns, the inside defenders, actually knocking him off.
David Hodge, I think, had the initial stop in there, Larry.
David Hodge, the linebacker.
Mm-hmm. He's from Vidalia.
Ball on the 33, 2nd down, about 6. Northern Iowa trying to get the lead. If they continue this drive, they'll be ahead for the first time. 8:13 in the half. Mike Smith fakes, bootlegs out here to the right. Chased by a big lineman, going to run 35, 30, 25, and stepped out of bounds.
Eddie Johns was after him, but of course Johns just doesn't have that kind of speed for his size.
Johns weighed 275. Got about 7 yards, 7.5. Northern Iowa driving again. I wonder how many yards they've got.
It's always amazed me, Larry, how these quarterbacks as good as Mike Smith know exactly where that first down marker is, because he saw those guys bearing down on him and just ran out of bounds there as he crossed the mark.
Northern Iowa threatening. They're 3 points down, near the halfway point of the second quarter. Flag down. You can see their guard move. Frank Orey, a senior, by the way, moved. He didn't have the snap count right, apparently, and made an offensive mistake.
He's trying to explain to the coach. He's got his hands out there like, I don't know. I thought that was a count here.
Yeah, you and I haven't talked about the fact the coach
is up here.
He's sitting up in the box, upstairs in a press box. He doesn't work off the sideline.
Daryl Mudra. He, and we'll take, there's a shot of him there, Larry.
Yeah.
Right up here with us.
First down, 15. Northern Iowa on the Georgia Southern 30. They were in a 5, they dropped to a 4. Smith again, out there in the flat. Little Boyd, he's tough to handle. Got about 6. Charles Carper, the linebacker, had to finally yank him down. He got about 7 to the 23. 7:42 and a half. Georgia Southern trying to hang on to a 17-14 lead before they are giving up yards. Yet they have led 3 times. 7-0, 14-7, 17-14. Iowa, 2nd down and 8. He starts in and they shut him down. Errol Peebles, he's only 5'8", he weighs 221, the freshman. Wesley Lee from High Springs, Florida, a linebacker. First guy that hit him. 3rd down's about 8. A little less, maybe.
I believe he played high school football with Tracy Ham. Have you ever known a coach to sit up in the booth, Larry?
No, I've heard him talk about it all my life, how great it would be to really see the game the right way.
Well, he doesn't.
They're down a short 8, 7 3/4 yards. Smith may have done an audible here. He wants to call time. He acted like he wanted to call time. Now he's dropping back. There he is. He dropped the ball. Dropped the touchdown. Scott Owens. He threw it a little hard, I guess. He beat the Southern left cornerback. He dropped a cinched touchdown, which is why I said there he is.
Yeah, it was obvious. He had the touchdown, and I think he smelled the end zone more than he smelled catching that football. Watch this. He is so all alone he could cry.
Oh.
Huh? Give me that. Is it okay to catch it after the bounce? Does that count?
Kevin Moat to try and tie it up for Northern Iowa. Kevin Willard, the number 2 quarterback, will hold it on the 30, and they set it down, and they stick it up in the air, and the kick is good. And we're all tied up. 17-17, a little better than 6.5 minutes in the half. We'll be back in a moment.
And 'tis the season, Larry. I guess you can get in the Christmas spirit here. We want to thank everybody for joining us along the line here of the Lewis Broadcasting Sports Network. We've got about 5 or 6 stations joining us for this.
Yeah, you said 'tis the season. I'm glad I'm not shopping up here, though.
Isn't that the truth? Snow all over the place, and it's minus something or other.
Northern Iowa will kick off 3 times. They've come back and tied it up. Our stat man is totaling up. Northern Iowa has 265 yards total at the moment. A funny kickoff, hard to handle, but taken by a short back on the 23-yard line. We'll have to check and see how that was on a kick-covering team. Garland McClary, was it?
It was a tackler. So. Let's see. Kevin, are they saying?
Kenny Butler.
Kenny Butler.
Yeah, Kenny Butler.
Okay. They have Iowa's last scoring drive here, Larry.
They have 465 yards between them at the moment, 6:35. Almost in a 6-man front. Tracy Ham to the fullback. Harris drives 5.5 or so. He's the guy that broke a 61-yarder immediately. Jeff Beals, a sophomore defensive end, hit him.
Gerald and Ricky Harris, by the way, are not related. This is a little point of interest to most folks out there.
Georgia Southern is here, beating Jackson State 27-0 and Middle Tennessee State 28-21 in the playoffs. Georgia Southern second down, about a short 5, looking at what amounts to a 6-man line. Ham fakes the fullback, wants to run the option, and starts out in the corner, gets him on the 43.
Late hit.
Tim Moses, watch a possible penalty coming up.
I think they're going to get him for a late hit, Larry.
He got about 3 yards, and then comes the penalty.
We'll watch it again. This one may have been a little picky. But he goes down, and here comes the guy in. He was off. Yeah, he came in and buried his shoulder in there. That was David McCorvey that got that.
First down for Georgia Southern. 17-17 tie. 5:52 to go here in the half. And they're on the Northern Iowa 41.
Well, Georgia Southern made a major mistake that led to a touchdown a while ago. Let's see what happens here.
Got 2 slots, one of them in motion, one back, now another. Flag down as Ham wanted to run an option. Oh, the pitchman behind him only got 1.5 yards. Beals in, played it well. But check a movement penalty possibly against Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I think Ricky Harris went in motion before he was supposed to for the snap of the ball.
These 2 clubs were almost 14-14 before you could take a breath. And then somehow, some way, it slowed down. They're going to decline a penalty here, are they?
I believe so,
yes, they are, because Ham only got 2 yards.
They'll make it second down now.
Second and about 8.5. He barely got 2. Second down, about 8. Clock is 5:28 running now. Here in a half, 17-17 tie. Middle splits real wide left for Southern. Now slot man in motion to that side of the field. And Ham wants to run a quarterback draw, and from behind, some guy grabbed him on the 36. Dwayne Price, 265-pound senior. Pat Williams, a linebacker, also hit him. Tracy Ham on a quarterback draw. And he got about 4, 3.5 or 4, just shy of the 35. It's third down now and about 4.5. Very, very big play here.
All the newspapers, Larry, talking about how Northern Iowa had already reserved their plane to Tacoma and everything.
Yes, they have. They're convinced they're going to go. Of course, we're only in the first half. And these two teams have moved it so well on each other. Ham to the right, now in trouble. Faked it, wanted to run, and got run out and lost yardage. Jeff Beals, the big end on that side, and Mark Farley, the linebacker.
First punt of the night, I believe.
Probably took him out of field goal range, I would think.
No, they're going to try one.
Are they really?
Tim Foley coming in here. He's going to try from 56 yards. This will be his longest of the year.
He hasn't made one that way yet, huh?
54 against UT Chattanooga, but I promise you it was still going.
39.5-yard line, fourth down, 8.5. Georgia Southern has called time here.
We'll stay here and
4:07 to go in the half, and they're going to try and go for a tremendous field goal in a 17-17 game that started out like it might possibly be 45-45. Fourth down, 8.5.
He's got the distance, Larry. There's no two ways about it.
Northern Iowa, remember, just simply drove and came flying down the field, and a deep interception on a tip ball as two defenders hit it. Stopped that one.
If he makes it, this will be a new record for the Dome here, and this place is about 10 years old.
And this would also be a Georgia Southern record, too?
Yes, it would. I believe 54 yards is the longest that he's kicked, and I believe that's the longest in Georgia Southern history. And that was against UT Chattanooga earlier in the season.
We are in the Unidome in Cedar Falls, Iowa. It's Alaska outside. It's beautiful inside.
Foley's got the best percentage of any field goal kicker in the NCAA. Division I or 1AA.
8 men on the line. Monty Sharp of Lyons, Georgia holds it, and the kick gets up in the air. Keep your eye on it. Is it short? Watch it.
Yep.
No good. Got it up there and didn't hit it. Timeout here. The score tied. 17-17. We'll be back.
Lewis Printing Company of Statesboro. They believe in quality above all. Their 4-color process printing is a specialty, and their own laser-generated color separations from their in-house laser scanner means fast, dependable service. Whether it's sales brochures, annual reports, folders, whatever your business or professional printing needs may be, Lewis Printing Company is eager to serve you. Computerized, digitized typesetting, layouts. The Lewis professionals will deliver a quality product. Call soon for a competitive quotation on your next order. Lewis Printing Company in Statesboro.
To Luis Gonzalez to the Georgia Southern 45 as Tyrone Hall hit him. After the long missed field goal, Northern Iowa tried to run Peebles a fullback inside, and he only got a yard, and now they come up throwing again, which they did early tonight. 17-17 tie. They're sitting on the 44.5 Georgia Southern territory. Ball almost on the 45. Backs are split in 3 wideouts, and Smith underneath. Smith coming to Boyd, trying to get to the corner with the blockers. Jenkins, the defensive guard there. Anthony, the rover, was there. Richardson, the end, was on that side, and Southern might have a man down.
Injury, Jesse Jenkins.
Jesse Jenkins.
Can't afford to lose him.
Kid out of Bon Air, Georgia, who makes a lot of stops, and now we have an injured player with only 2:52 left in the half. And Craig Walker out of Roberta, Georgia, a freshman, has come on the field, I would guess immediately to replace
Okay, I'm going to try to find out what that is.
Okay, Larry, let's, while we're waiting to find out what's going to happen to Jesse Jenkins, why don't we take a little break here along the Lewis Broadcasting Network line, and we'll be back after this.
Larry Munson and Bill Edwards in Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa University, their dome in Cedar Falls.
Jesse Jenkins still down, which is not good, and Dr. Bob Swint, the team physician from Statesboro, has now come out on the field. They're going to pick Jesse up very, very gingerly and take him to the sidelines as he gets a nice hand from the crowd. I hope we see more of him tonight, Larry.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier he's been very tough on defense. 2nd and 9 whenever they line it up again. Northern Iowa sitting inside the Georgia Southern 44. Ham has 53 total yards. And the first down's Northern Iowa 15 to Georgia Southern 6. Jenkins slowly going off the field. 2:52 left in the half. 17-17 tie. If you joined us late, Gerald Harris, the fullback for Georgia Southern, broke a 61-yard drive in the middle after Northern Iowa had really come flying down the field. And then a few minutes later, again, Northern Iowa came down, and after stopping that drive, here came the long bomb. No, they had tied it up on that drive when Tracy Ham went 75 yards. Northern Iowa 2nd and 9. Sitting just outside Southern's 43. Going to give it to Peebles, and Peebles coming up the middle and all the way over the 35 down to about the 31 or 2. First time that fullback's hurt Southern tonight, but he hurt him there because he came up with about 13 yards. That's that short, chunky guy at 5'8", 221. Danny Durham of Albany, a linebacker, pulled him down from behind. Northern Iowa trying to get the lead here at the half.
He got behind some blockers, Larry, and I don't think anybody realized he had the football for about 5 yards. There was a big crowd around him.
Southern's got 75 yards passing. Northern Iowa 138, they tell me.
And Northern Iowa's got a little confusion here in the backfield as to who's supposed to go where here, Larry.
Tie ball game, 17-17, and so they come handing it off to Peebles, who cuts inside. And Craig Walker, the reserve lineman, who just came in, the flag down late. Uh-oh, let's catch the penalty there. It may be on Southern. The gain was at least 4 or 5 yards, and now a check a penalty. I don't know.
I don't know what happened. Unless we get to see it again. Personal foul, late hit.
That hurt on Southern.
Oh,
minute 57 and a half. Northern Iowa's got a chance here to take a lead for the first time. They have not had the lead.
That's right. John Richardson was the guy that they're penalizing. And Richardson, uncharacteristic of him, by the way.
Now it's on to 13. Northern Iowa may lead for the first time. I'm saying that the way these two teams have just moved and scored on each other. But at the moment, they have stopped each other about 75% of the time in this particular quarter.
Smith wants quiet.
Slot right, a man wide left, slot man in motion. They're on to 13. Little Boyd shooting in. Knocked off balance, but got all the way down to about the 7. Harper, a linebacker from behind, managed to trip him up, or he would have been gone. And as it is, he got about 6 yards. He got about 7. Got 86 seconds to go on the half. 17-17 tie. This could be very, very big.
A whole bunch of substitutes just came in for the Georgia Southern defense there, Larry.
Burke may have been putting in fresh men. 2 tight ends in this time, and they run a slot man in motion, and Little Boyd starts in, and the Eagles jam him up there. He got a yard, maybe. Hugo Rossignol, or Over, from Jacksonville, Florida, may have been the first man that hit him. Got about a yard and a half.
Here we go again as we watch it from the back of the end zone. Nowhere to go.
They stopped the clock and call time. 3rd down and 2. Northern Iowa call time with 57 seconds in the half, determined to finally lead in this game because they got behind 7-0. Then after tying it, they got behind 14-7. Then after tying it, they got behind 17-14. They got a lot of offense, but then who has led most of the way? That has been Georgia Southern. Now, however, it's very late, and they may give up what they've had going.
Well, Georgia Southern has scored on the big plays, and this has been a big play team all season, Larry. It has been difficult at times for Georgia Southern to get any kind of a sustained drive going. They've scored on these long plays like you saw.
Semifinals, Division I AA up in Iowa. The winner will play Furman way out in the state of Washington in the national championship next week. And that's a dome out there, too, I believe.
Thank goodness. Tacoma Dome is what they call it.
Short slot off one side, and they run a slot man in motion. He fakes, he bootlegs out, and fires. Incomplete, almost intercepted. He went for Frankie, and Nay Young, a cornerback, a kid out of Savannah, sophomore, almost caught it, though he was falling at the moment.
Terry Young.
Terry Young.
Maybe Nay had a hand on it first. I saw Terry trying to get it, too.
It was Terry going down who almost caught it.
Okay.
52 seconds in the half. 4th down, and a little chip shot field goal apparently coming here for Kevin Moat. This can give Northern Iowa their first lead of the night. There's only 52 seconds in the half. 17-17 tie. They set it down right in front of it, and he sticks it up there. Good. And Northern Iowa leads 20-17 with 48 seconds now left in the half, and the Panthers will have to come down and kick it off again.
Southern has had a great success the last couple of years, Larry, running that little 2-minute offense, scoring in the last few seconds to take leads or tie things up just before halftime. They've done it against people like Bethune-Cookman. Did it against East Tennessee State. So they run an excellent 2-minute offense.
Not a lot of time here, though.
That's right.
Any kind of a return on the kick, they'll be down to about, 38 seconds when they put it in play. It's 48 seconds now. They've led 3 different times. Now they trailed for the first time. Georgia Southern deploying and waiting to receive. Tony Belser is the deep man in the middle. Mike Angel will kick off. Mike Angel will kick off this time for Northern Iowa. Miller and Harrison Belser are deep. Tries to squib it and roll it down the middle. High, tough bounce on the turf. Belser drops it. He's in trouble on the 8. And Belser can only get to the 20 with the clock running very late in the half. 20-17, Northern Iowa leading. Garland McClary, one of the linebackers, was the first guy that hit him for Northern Iowa. 43 seconds to go here in the half. No smoking in this dome. I wondered about that. 43 seconds. The Eagles are 80 yards away from it, and they have no time. 2 slots, 2 wideouts, 1 running back. Tracy Ham, a little shovel pass. He pitched it off to one of the flankers.
Ricky Harris, I believe.
And Ricky Harris, the tailback, could only get 2 or 3 yards. He just flipped it to him going by, almost like a pitchback. Spencer Cowan, outside linebacker on the left, hit him. Clock running 22 seconds. 2nd down and 7. Tracy Ham with a man rushing him. Fires complete, caught, and out of bounds on the 38 with 16 seconds. Monty Sharp made a great grab out here on the 38 and stopped the clock with 16 seconds. Georgia Southern with a first down out there. Northern Iowa leading 20-17. The first 4 touchdowns in this game just came one right on top of the other. Delano Little from Hinesville, Georgia, came in Belser's spot at that split end, obviously with instructions. Almost the end of the half. Tracy Ham rolling to the right, in trouble, coming out. Going to throw a long bomb, and he overthrew everybody. Incomplete, 9 seconds. The receiver, however, may have slowed down in the vicinity of the 25, and the ball sailed another 10 or 15 yards over. 9 seconds. Southern trailing 20-17.
They're going to have time to run one more play, Larry. Try to get it deep where they can either score a touchdown or kick a field goal here. That's about all the time they've got left. They're going to have to run some sort of a down-and-out pattern. Get out of bounds in time. We'll be talking with Coach Russell here in just a moment.
They load 3 men over on the right like a Hail Mary situation, and Ham under pressure, in trouble, and they're going to sack him and end the half about 11 yards behind the line. Campbell a tackle, and Grimes the end, primarily on the right side of the Northern Iowa line, got him, and
okay,
the half is ended.
And Andy Barron down on the sidelines is going to be talking with Coach Irk Russell, I believe, or at least one of the coaches, as we go to the locker room here with Georgia Southern trailing by 3, 20-17. And let's see if Andy's caught up with him yet. And not quite ready, but we're going to get him over here. And here it comes. Okay, Andy's got Coach Russell.
Thanks, Bill. Coach, great first half, lot of action, just like you thought, I suppose.
Well, the fans should like this one. It's kind of tough over there on the sideline when we can't stop them, but hopefully we can go back in there and make a few adjustments and slow them down a little bit and get ourselves back on track.
What adjustments do you have in mind?
Well, we've got to stop their weak side sweep, and we've got to get somebody under their short passing game.
They've been attacking the left side a lot, too.
Well, that's the weak side over there, and that's what we've got to go work on.
Okay, Coach, have a good second half. Thank you. Coach Irk Russell, back up to you, gang.
Thank you very much, Andy. And here we go. The score at halftime, 20-17 in favor of Northern Iowa over Georgia Southern. We'll be back with the halftime after this.
Georgia Southern College, 20-17. Our guests at halftime are very special at Georgia Southern College. To my right is Dr. Bucky Wagner. He'll be entering his 5th season as athletic director at Georgia Southern. First of all, Dr. Wagner, a great first half.
It was just a great offensive show the first half, and we knew that Northern Iowa had a great offense, and we know that we have a good offense. And I just think that this game is going to go down to who has the courage and who has the stamina in the fourth quarter to win this game.
Or maybe who even has the ball last.
That could be, but we hope we wear them down in the fourth quarter.
Dr. Wagner, you're into something so special over at the college right now, and a lot of it is made possible by the Georgia Southern Boosters. Can you tell us a little bit about the group?
The Southern Boosters is a tax-free corporation made up of our friends and supporters throughout Southeast Georgia. Southern Boosters, Andy, since we started 4 years ago, has raised over $6 million for Georgia Southern athletics. We have over 1,500 members, and we have drives in over 20 towns throughout Southeast Georgia. We're in a very exciting challenge right now. Between now and the end of the month, Southern Boosters is working to raise $350,000 to match the generous gift of Mr. Alan Paulson, who gave us $350,000 and said that for anyone that gives you $1, I'll match it with $1. So we're out right now with our Southern Boosters working to raise $350,000 to match Alan Paulson's gift to help us finish up our stadium project and to help us build our scholarship endowment so this great program can continue to grow.
It doesn't hurt that Irk's Eagles have had such a spectacular season. I guess the interest is really peaking right now.
Well, this season does a lot for our young program. First of all, it gives us credibility. We've only been playing varsity football for 2 years, and people can see now that we play good Division I football. And a lot of the teams in the Southeast, the major Division I teams like Georgia and Florida and people like that, will now consider playing Georgia Southern. We have good football. It also just is tremendous for our fans and our people throughout the program, and it also will be good for our recruiting because good athletes like to come to a winner. And we sure hope we can get out and get those good athletes.
Dr. Wagner, thanks. Enjoy the second half. To my left, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dale Lick, the president of Georgia Southern College. Doctor, a quick comment on the first half.
Well, it's been a super first half. It's the way playoff games are supposed to go. We're just sorry we're not ahead, but we'll take care of that second half.
All right. Dr. Wagner mentioned the very special generosity of Mr. Alan Paulson. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more.
Well, Mr. Paulson has been something special to us. He came forward and helped us build our stadium. He's also come forward with a major challenge to encourage others to help pay off the debt that we have on a stadium of $700,000. I need to tell our fans that Mr. Paulson's in the hospital in Santa Monica. He had back surgery, and he's coming all right, but he's going to be there for 3 or 4 weeks. If somebody wants to write to him in the Santa Monica hospital, he'd love to hear from people. He's been a super supporter, and we hope people are going to help us with this $350,000 match gift.
That's tremendous. You know, not only is Irk's ball club doing well, but Frank Kearns has a fine quintet year after year. How has the success of the athletic program helped the college in general?
Well, the athletic programs have been tremendously helpful to the college. They've given that emotional push that we've needed to help us rally people around Georgia Southern. And I know part of our enrollment increase this year, part of our strong continual showing is part of athletics. And as long as we can keep a balance between really quality athletics that we've got and super quality academics, we're going to be fine.
Thanks, Dr. Lick. Enjoy the second half.
Andy.
Dr. Dale Lick, president of Georgia Southern College, and Dr. Bucky Wagner, the athletic director. Right now, we'd like to show you a little bit more about Georgia Southern College.
Georgia Southern College in Statesboro is Georgia's largest and most comprehensive senior college. For nearly 7,000 students from 35 states and 40 nations, the future begins here, now. 150 undergraduate and graduate degree programs are preparing them to serve and succeed in the arts, sciences, humanities, business, education, technology, and health professions. A faculty nationally competitive in their fields, naturally caring in their classrooms. Researchers pressing for progress toward a better life for people around the globe and around the corner. Georgia Southern, where quality is demanded and caring is the difference.
Munson and Billett.
Oh, excuse me there, Larry.
That's all right. 20-17 and a couple of minutes still to go before we get into the second half. Something you pointed out earlier, Bill, was the revolving door on this thing. It's got this, this is an airfield, in other words, nylon-type roof, and a certain amount of suction. If you open all the doors, to pull the roof down.
It really will. As a matter of fact, if you open one of those regular doors like they have on the emergency exit, it's you get sucked outside almost. It's unbelievable the amount of pressure that's in here.
I got something.
There's 2 or 3 domes like this in America where you have this type of a roof where a heavy snow or something, but above all, strong suction from down below on the floor can drag and pull that ceiling down as far as this dome is concerned. The officials are talking now. Andy, what do you got down there?
Larry, I've got an injury report on Jesse Jackson. It may not be as serious as we thought. He did suffer a blow to the midsection. I beg your pardon, Jesse Jenkins. He bruised a rib. He's going to try to go in the second half. He lost his wind for quite a while. That's why he was out on the field. But he is going to try to go in the second half. Larry?
That's good
all
news,
right.
Larry.
Who knows now? What kind of a start will we have in the third quarter? The way they started chopping each other to pieces in that first quarter and the early minutes of the second quarter. Northern Iowa will kick off.
We want to thank all the folks who made the long trek over here, Larry. Paul Parker and Martin Neesmith from Claxton say hello to all the folks down in the southern part of the country from the cold country up here.
Angel kicks kind of a low ball, and it's going to be taken on the 11 by Harris. And Harris is up to about the 31 or so before he's knocked down. And now Georgia Southern will put it in play. Dave McCorvey again, a safety man who's made some stops tonight for Northern Iowa, was the guy that hit him. He's the number 2 safety man. Now Georgia Southern will put it in play on their own 32. They're trailing by 3, trying to get to the national championships next week out in Tacoma, Washington. Southern all in white coming up. Northern Iowa in the purple, gold, and white. Gracie Ham with 1 back, 2 slots, 1 in motion, going to ride to the fullback. And Harris got maybe 3. Gerald Harris of Swainsboro. Price, the left tackle. Mark Farley, the linebacker, stopped him. If he got 3, he did. He got a short 3. It's second down and about 7. Southern on their own 35. Georgia Southern up to the line. Dennis Franklin over the ball. Ham has a man in motion. Goes to the fullback. Harris had a little hole. He fought to keep possession of the ball when they hit him on the 40. Gerald Harris again. You could see the hole, but they were yanking at his feet as he went in there. And Dwayne Price, 265-pound senior, primarily responsible for stopping him, but he got a solid 6 yards. Ed Grimes, a defensive end, next to him on the stop. 3rd and 1 for Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern on their own 41. They need a yard. Art Stelkin, the other end, had been in on the last play. Ham on a sneak bursts up in there for about 3 yards and a first down. Gracie Ham. Stopped by Mike Campbell, defensive right tackle, a freshman. Ham with 10 touchdowns coming into this one. Gerald Harris had 14. Ricky Harris had 5 for Southern. Southern's on their own 45, 3 points down. Just started third quarter.
This, Larry, is the first time they trailed in the playoffs, by the way.
Now they have 3 wideouts left and 1 right. They may or may not go in motion off this. Tracy Ham hollering at the wideouts. Fakes and comes around the left and gets a block. 45. Tracy Ham's 5, 10 yards. Going to get 15, 16, 17 yards. Farley, a linebacker from behind, and Moses Amable, a cornerback. Well, the guys that yanked him down, but Tracy, who pulled away, was somebody yanking at his shirt.
Kind of scares you when they run out of bounds like that, Larry, as we watch it again, because he goes up underneath that the little overhang here, and you don't know if he's going to hit that wall or not.
James Carter, the right guard out of Thomaston, Georgia, number 72, threw the key block for him.
Nice run by Tracy. Back live.
Southern on the 39. 3 men on the wide side of the field, and Belcher on the left. Ham fakes. Now he's coming out. He's going to get to the 39 to 35 to the 32 or 3. Beals the end, playing it well, and Moses, the corner, coming up to help him. Southern is driving. They're 3 down early here in this third quarter, trailing 20 to 17. An electrifying, wild first quarter. Second down, 3.5. Georgia Southern has come down to Northern Iowa's 32 or 32.5.
They're playing Erk's game now, Larry. He's from the old school where he hates to pass, and he wants to keep this on the ground for a little while, it looks like.
One of the slot men in motion, and they pitch it to him, and they spring him out wide. Here comes Harris. Harris is going to score. Monty Sharp, the blocker, one of the wideouts. Ricky Harris all the way in the corner.
Monty did a great job down there in the end zone, Larry, keeping that last tackler away. And here it is, another look. Moses Amable was the guy he was defending, and there's that pitch that is just awesome once it works. Here comes Harris. He just outruns people around the left corner. And you can see Sharp. Watch this, the block that Monty's putting on here to keep Amable honest.
Tim Foley will try the extra point against a 9-man line. The kick is up, and the kick is good, and Georgia Southern takes the lead back. Southern leading 24 to 20 early in the third quarter. We'll be back after these words. Troy Harold waiting for the official to give him the ball to kick off for Georgia Southern. Took the kick off, and here they came. 24 to 20, 68 yards in just 6 plays, just biting it off in chunks. The bites they took in the first quarter were even larger than that. But then remember, Northern Iowa has always driven. When they get the ball, they drive. No, there hasn't been a punt yet tonight. 24-20. Southern kicks off. We're very early in this third quarter. Very, very high around the vicinity of the goal line. Taken by Owens right on the goal line, coming up the middle and out to about the 23 or 24. Donnie Allen from Live Oak, Florida, may have been the first man on a kick covering team that hit him for Southern.
Up until about the 7th game of the season, Larry, nobody had run the kickoff or the kicks back past the 24-yard line. That's how effective Trey Harold has been this season.
All right, here comes the Panthers of Northern Iowa. Also reaching for a chance at a national championship. Southern's gone into 5-man front. Now they drop back to a 4 as the end pulls back. And going to Peebles, a fullback who cracked at left tackle, and he picked up 3 or 4 yards. Harold Peebles, the short, chunky guy, 5'8", 220. And he got maybe 5 to the 29. Danny Durham, a junior linebacker at Albany, one of the men that knocked him down.
Durham has been great on pursuit, Larry. He's very good at lateral movement, and the coaches really like the way he pursues plays and stays with them.
Second down, short 5. Mike Smith to Boyd. Boyd off the tackle, and Boyd caught from behind after a quick 7 yards.
He's deceptive, isn't he?
Yeah. Carper got him. Now, he's only 5'6" and 169. Carper got him, and Hugo Rossignol or over got him. First down.
Got to be the slipperiest guy we played this season.
Northern Iowa trying to drive again. First 3 times they touched the ball tonight, they really drove. Boy,
Colonel Boyd's statistics, wasn't it?
129 yards.
23 carries.
Smith, kind of a long count, bootleg to the right. Here he comes, going to throw it. He hit him. Did he have his feet in? I believe he did. Scott Owens. And the pass play.
Flag on the play, though.
Watch the flag. It's back near the line of scrimmage.
Could be a holding call on...
Could be. No.
Northern Iowa.
An eligible receiver and loss of down.
Okay, let's see if we can see what it is. I think it's an eligible receiver downfield.
Yeah,
is that him out there leading? No, that couldn't be him. Good catch. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're saying. Or
penalty takes him back to the 32.
Or did he cross the line of scrimmage before he threw it? He did a lot of running out there. Loss of down, anyway.
Yeah. The sign given was the old ineligible receiver sign. Ball back in the 32.
That'll bring up 2nd and 15 with a loss of down on the play. That loss of down penalty is a toughie, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 24-20. Southern leading early third quarter. 3 wideouts. The back split. Mike Smith bootleg again to the right. Now to the sideline again. Broken up on the 45.
Same play. Nay Young was there that time, though.
Nay Young of Savannah, the sophomore, got his hand on it well.
This is only his 2nd or 3rd year playing defensive back. He was a halfback at Savannah High School, Larry. They liked his speed, and they liked the way, and he said it was an advantage to him as we watch it again. Smith rolling out to the right there because he understood offense. And look how quickly he got to that one and knocked it away.
Northern Iowa in danger at the moment of being stopped for the first time and possibly having to punt. 3rd down, 15. Smith back. Plenty of receivers. Looking. Now decides to come running to the sideline. Now he goes real deep. Had a man there, but he was out of bounds with him. Deep on the Southern 33, Scott Owens.
We will see our first punt of the night, Larry.
Holy smokes. Here we are with 10:43 to go in the third quarter. Somebody's finally going to have to punt. Tussle will punt for Northern Iowa on 4th and 15. Nobody has had to punt. Nobody has had to back up all night long. 24-20. We haven't really played 5 minutes yet in the third quarter. Now, one time, Southern went for an unusually long field goal, 56 yards, instead of punting. The punt, good punt. Belcher going to back up a little. Takes it on the 26. Trying to go to the sideline. Hit very hard on the 33.
Nice run back, all considering, though. Larry got about 5 yards out of the deal and then might be a little slow getting up there. I think he was stunned.
Spencer Cowan, outside linebacker, was the first guy that hit him. Now, Southern will put it in play on their own 34. With a 24-20 lead because they came out in this third quarter and just drove it 68 yards in 6 plays and got the lead back. They had trailed 20-17 at that time. Now it's 24-20 and they lead. NCAA Division I AA playoffs semifinals in Iowa. Tracy Ham faking, and then the pitch coming wide to Ricky Harris. Harris got hit trying to get wide to the corner, got about 3. Tim Moses, a corner, came up. Moses, McCorvey, a safety man, Farley, a linebacker.
Here's a look from behind there, Larry, and just great pursuit because this is basically the same play that scored the touchdown a few moments ago.
Southern will be 2nd and a full 7, and they're on their own 37. Tracy Ham underneath, 2 slots, 1 back, 2 wideouts, man in motion. Try to go to the fullback, and he got knocked down in the 39 by Cowan, a linebacker, and Edward Grimes, a defensive end. Gerald Harris didn't get much. All of a sudden, these two clubs are a little tough with each other.
Kind of conservative as we look at the sidelines, but you won't see the head coach down there. In case you didn't hear us earlier, Darrell Mudra, the head coach, watches this thing from the press box.
They had 536 yards between them in the first half and 37 points. Tracy Ham with blocking to the right, looking, running, cuts by a man who tripped him and he went down, and now they'll have to punt. Jeff Beals, a big sophomore end, weighs 220. Boy, he was going to get some yardage if that guy hadn't reached his hand out.
That's what this artificial turf does, though, Larry. You just get one hand out there, and you can knock the guy down. So here comes Pat Parker, another guy from Savannah.
4th and 3, and Southern kicks. He kicked Parker fool out of that ball.
Ooh.
All the way down to the 12 to Owens. Owens ran by a man and got a block. He's coming across the 15 and throwing down around the 15 or inside of it. Danny Durham, the linebacker of Albany. Timeout here. Southern leads 24-20. We'll be back after these words.
What's the fun?
You know, Bill, they made these guys pay a $45,000 fine last week because they didn't sell enough tickets in this thing when they played Eastern Washington. Now, tonight they sold a little over 12,300, so I guess they're all right. But the NCAA has some of the goofiest rules you've ever heard of.
Larry, just to give you an example, we couldn't fly on the charter flight, even though it wasn't full. There were like 65 people on the Ozark charter out of Savannah. We'd have had to pay a full price of something like $550. We drove down to Jacksonville to fly for $230 on the same airline.
Backs are split wide. Mike Smith with Northern Iowa on the 13, and they're 4 down. Going to go to Peebles. Peebles coming out off that tackle. Secondary had to come up and help on the play. Brad Bowen of Panama City was helping one of the linemen around the 16-yard line. Maurice Barron of Baxley, Georgia, was a defensive end on the bottom of the pile. And they spotted up on about the 17, give him 4, 2nd and 6.
So a shot of Erk down there on the sidelines.
24-20, Southern leads, 8:11 to go in the third quarter. Northern Iowa, 2nd and 6. They both just had to punt for the first time tonight. Here's Mike Smith, the quarterback. There he is, complete. Out of bounds for the first down.
Wide open Carl Peebles out there.
Anthony,
Warnell Anthony guy.
Hit him.
Talking about those crazy rules, Larry, as we watch this again, Joe Morrison, the coach at South Carolina, came down to talk to the Savannah Quarterback Club earlier in the season and requested that the high school athletes that they honor each week not be at the meeting because he was afraid that might constitute a recruiting violation.
Yeah, that's happened in other cities. First down on a sideline pattern, and Iowa's out of the hole. Northern Iowa now on their 27, and Smith fakes back to throw, firing, complete, near midfield. Sherrod Howard, the tight end. Bowen had a low block on him and took his feet out from under him. 21 more yards, and here comes Northern Iowa flying down the field again. They're only 4 points down.
One more time, Mike Smith, sophomore from Tallahassee, Florida. Firing right across the middle there. Bowen getting under him and knocking him down. They haven't gone to Howard much in the game, Larry, but when they have, it's been good news for them.
Big Jeff Melkert, their alternating center. A senior over the ball. Mike Smith, the quarterback, they're on their own 49. 4 down. And there goes Boyd, cutting back in to about the 45.
Nice yardage again.
7:20 to go in the third quarter.
Edward Eves back.
Smith's hit 14 out of 24, Bill, 171 yards through the air.
Ooh. Kid's good.
Second down, about 4, Northern Iowa, Georgia Southern territory again. They're down 24-20, 7 minutes to play in the third quarter, now less than that. Southern in their 4-4. Smith goes to the tail, and there's a hole, and here comes Boyd down to the 30. Carl Boyd, that little sophomore, about 15 big yards. Rossignol or over had to get him.
Here it comes one more time. There's Boyd. Well, when he sees that hole and goes through the crease, he's gone. There we go, as Hugo Rossignol out of Jacksonville finally has to bring him down at the 30-yard line.
The guy we mentioned in the first half looks so much like little Lionel James, who used to be at Auburn. 6:29 in the third quarter. Northern Iowa on their 4th, or is it the 5th drive of the night? They're 4 points down, and they go to Peebles, a hole at the tackle. He started out, the linebacker got him, Charles Tucker. 24-20, Southern leading. The winner goes all the way out to the state of Washington to be in a national championship game in Division I AA. 2nd and 6.
Interesting on the playoff system they've got for this division, Larry, and still nothing for the Division I schools. Here we got maybe Furman and Georgia Southern next week, schools 150 miles or so apart, and they're going to be playing in Tacoma, Washington.
Thousands of miles away.
That's right.
3 wideouts. Here comes Smith. There he is. Howard again, all the way to the 8, 22 yards.
Brad Bowen got him. But it's first and goal.
Northern Iowa acting very, very much like 21 yards, like they're going to take the lead back.
Replay there. And Carper clobbered him right in the old breadbasket where hopefully he could knock the ball loose, but he held on.
If a passer is accurate, you cannot defend against him. You cannot do it if he's right on the money. You can't do it. Not this early in an athlete's career. Boyd trying to get out. The defense got him and yanked him down. One of them was Tyrone Hull, a sophomore linebacker of Savannah. Grabbed at him first. They have to watch that little Carl Boyd. Back to the 10.
Hull's very deceiving, Larry, as he checks out, and a couple of new people check back in. But he's in just about every play. You'll see him around the football, and then all of a sudden he'll come up with a big play like that out of nowhere.
Second down after a yard loss. Goal to go. They're on to 10, or an inch or two outside of it, maybe. And Peebles driving for about 4. Errol Peebles started wide right and cut back at the tackle and got about 4 yards. Jenkins from behind. Durham, the linebacker. The ball sitting on the 6. Third down. Northern Iowa been swapping leads with Georgia Southern all night, or catching up to them all night. They've been catching up to each other. 4:25 to go here in the third quarter. 24-20. Southern trying to hurry up and get a man off the field. Mike Smith drops back to throw. Slant. Couldn't hang on. Covered by Nay Young of Savannah, and it's a good thing he covered Frankie because they were going for it there.
Isn't that the truth?
They may go for a field goal, or will they? 4:11 to go. Moats come in. Kevin Moats come in with the ball sitting on the 6. Boy, they threw a slant at him. The only man he looked at. And Nay Young really played it well. That might turn out to be awfully big. Getting fairly late now in this third quarter. Snap was a little high, but he got the kick off. Kick is good. And that's 23 points for Northern Iowa, but Southern leads 24-23. 4:07 to go in the third quarter. We'll be back after these words. All right, Andy, what do you got on the sidelines?
For all the firepower in this game, it may come down to field goals. You're watching Kevin Moat, who wasn't even the starting kicker this year for the University of Northern Iowa. Instead, it was Mike Angel earlier in the year, but Moat now with 3 field goals. By the way, Tim Foley's missed from 56.5 yards, long enough, but wide by about 18 inches. Larry?
All right, Andy, Northern Iowa kicks off. They're down by 1 point late in the third quarter. Kick sailing, tough to handle, but Belcher takes it on about the 3. Belcher trying to break out, almost did, went down around the 27. Had a little hole for him. Mike Angel on the kick covering team instead of the kicker was the first guy that bumped him. Southern will put it in play on the 28. 4:01 to go. 24-23, Southern leading. The winner goes to Tacoma, Washington next week for the Division I AA National Championship. 6 men on the line of scrimmage, man in motion. And they're going to hand it inside to Harris. Got a yard or 2, Ricky Harris. Price the tackle, and Moses the corner hit him. Price, a big kid, 265.
The crowd noise has not been that much of a factor so far, Larry.
I don't think it has. Wearing headsets, though, you and I don't get all of it. And we did have a time in the first half where Southern stepped back. 2nd and 8. Southern up to the line, Little and Sharper out. Back starts in motion. He rides the fullback, and Harris driving, got about 5 tough yards. Gerald Harris, he had 92 yards a few minutes ago. He's getting close to 100. Price the tackle again. Farley, the linebacker.
Some of the hardest yards we've gotten all season, as a matter of fact, Larry.
3rd and 3.
Excellent defense tonight by University of Northern Iowa.
Gerald Harris broke the game's first touchdown, 61 yards. Ball just outside the 35. They have to go to the 38. Northern Iowa stacking up in there. And they try to go to the fullback, and he can't go. Harris is stopped. Mike Campbell, a freshman tackle, met him head on first. Price the other one, both of them. Gain of maybe a yard. And Southern will have to kick again. Owens, a safety man for the Panthers. Parker to punt. He's 9 men on the line. Got it off. Not real deep. Fair catch call for around the 29 or 30. Timeout here. 2:22 in the third quarter. Southern leads 24-23. Be back in a moment. There's a wave across the way here in this Unidome. I guess they'll try to pick it up on this side. I don't know.
Here we go. They're trying it there, Larry. Certainly one of my favorite activities in a sports arena. There we go on the other side.
Northern Iowa on their own 29, and they're asking their crowd to help them. Southern's leading 24-23. And all of a sudden, the offense is getting checked. But Iowa has been checked once, too. Mike Smith bootlegs out to the right. Going to come out running and throw a long bomb, and he's got a receiver there, and he went out of bounds with it. It is complete to Scott Frankie right down the sideline.
Gorgeous play.
40 yards, 39 or 40. Let's see. 41.
I was chuckling just a moment ago, Larry. The PA announcer told everybody to stay in their seats, and that got a rousing boo from the crowd. Look at this.
And then he rolls out and goes for 40. And
Look
was that receiver open?
Ooh.
Northern Iowa again trying to take the lead back. Their quarterback, Mike Smith, asked the kids to be quiet. This is his place and his students, as you know. So they hand off to Hill, a reserve back. He starts out and got wrecked on the 28.
That was Danny Durham.
Yeah, that linebacker.
Danny Durham introduced himself rather rudely, didn't he? That's what we refer to confidently as Southern hospitality down there. Here we go again.
Take a look at this thing.
Here comes Danny.
And it's, how do you do?
Oh. 2nd and 9 or 9.5. It didn't quite get a full yard. Northern Iowa late in the third quarter, down by 1 point. 3 wideouts. The backs are split pretty good. Kind of a long count by Smith. Sprinting out. Got in trouble down on the 30. Maurice Barron of Baxley, a defensive end, fell on him when he couldn't find his receivers open.
Looked like he was kind of sliding down, didn't it? Look like it to you, Larry?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Lost his footing a little bit.
You realize the footing we'd have outside if we were outside in this game?
Gee. Oh.
Andy Barron would be doing play-by-play. You and I would be back, you know where.
That's right. Watching.
3rd down, 10. Mike Smith, 3 wideouts. Goes instead to a back inside with a hole. And Peebles got maybe to the 19 and the first down. The cornerback, Nay Young, had to get him, boy. He burst at that right tackle. He might have a first down. It's close.
He's close, isn't he? Here it is again.
Very
nice
big
handoff.
play. Look at that hole they
It looked like the interstate highway out there, didn't it? Nay Young finally gets him by the ankle there, and Charles Carper comes over to help. They're going to measure.
50 seconds in the third quarter. Northern Iowa again down here, again about to take a lead, or so they act. The last time they had to settle for a field goal, 24-23.
Got about
first down. Bill and I have alluded to this before. These guys have already chartered a plane for next week. They were that convinced they were going to win, and they have greased the goalposts here. figuring they were
That's
going to
right.
win and that their students would come out and try to tear the goalposts down, so they've greased them so they would fall off the bar if they try to do that.
Right.
That's how confident they are. They're on a 19.5.
Chartering that plane, by the way, was against NCAA regulations.
But they've stood up to the NCAA. They're arguing. Mike Smith back to throw. Got a man slanting across, almost intercepted. Tough coverage, tough play by Terry Young of Savannah, a freshman, as Scott Owens.
They're booing, of course. They thought it was pass interference, although it could have been called as offensive pass interference the way Young was coming across there trying to get that football. We'll watch it again here from the back of the end zone.
I'd hate to be an official. I don't know.
Yeah, Young was... No, it wasn't interference on either count, but, of course, the partisans wanted it called. There's the Panther.
Second down, 10. Northern Iowa, 1 point down, 24 seconds. Time for a play or two in the third quarter. Smith, flag down. Did he take too much time?
Not sure.
Or did we have movement?
Whistles went off and the flags went down immediately.
Going to run Errol Peoples, a fullback, on a trap.
Procedure call, Larry.
Northern Iowa will retreat. We haven't had many penalties. We hadn't had a punt until a few minutes ago.
That's
now
right.
we've had 3 of them now.
I believe that's the first penalty, the second penalty of the half?
That might be.
Second penalty of the half.
Yeah, we had a loss of down on one.
Right.
Ball at the 24.5, second and 15, Northern Iowa.
Irk is the only coach I know, Larry, that gets away with walking out on the field. He stays on the field the entire game, I believe, and walks about 10 miles.
I see it. He walked a lot before this game, all over this field. 3 wideouts. Second and 15, Mike Smith. Gonna go. Peebles coming out, cutting back 5 yards maybe. Big play coming here. Very late. The seconds are running out, I think, in this third quarter.
I don't think we'll get another play off, Larry, unless somebody calls timeout.
He got 6 yards to the 18, and the quarter might end here.
That'll be it.
John Richardson, the end. Carper, the linebacker, on the stop. That's the end of the quarter. 1 quarter to go. Georgia Southern leading 24-23. Lewis Broadcasting Sports Network says we'll be back in a moment.
New Year's Eve on Savannah's Total Sports Station, WJCL.
Merry Christmas from Cedar Falls, Iowa. With the snow and brutal cold outside, it's warm as toast in here. Temperature almost 70. 24-23. Southern grimly trying to hang on to a 1-point lead. Northern Iowa's third down, 8.5, and sitting on the Eagles' 18. National championship shot is swinging in the balance out front. Northern Iowa's got a lot of yards, I believe. I know they got a lot of first downs. Mike Smith dropping back. Third down, big play. Gonna go for a touchdown. Tipped away. Great play in the corner. 36, was it? Yeah, Brad Bowen of Panama City, Florida.
Bowen made one of the plays of his career there.
Boy.
Usually that's Nay Young or Charles or Chris Aiken back there, but watch it again, Larry. This is a touchdown-saving move if I ever saw one. Beautiful pass. Watch.
Boy,
Watch Bowen.
Great play. Well, this field goal can give Northern Iowa a lead.
Bowen's, by the way, Larry, Bowen's older brother Ken plays for Eastern Tennessee, and they've played against each other a couple of times.
Kevin Moat trying to put him back out in front. It looks all right. It is. And Northern Iowa takes the lead 26-24. 14:52 to go in the fourth quarter. We'll be back after these words. Northern Iowa leads, Bill, 26-24. Total yards 462 to 309. So these two clubs got 771 yards between them.
Look at the difference in the time of possession.
Holy smokes, 30 minutes to 14. Southern breaking some big plays, of course, tonight. It's a good thing they did. Northern Iowa's been driving all night long. Percy Ham, by the way, has only thrown it 5 times tonight. 2 out of 5, 90 yards.
I think it's incredible what we tell them those field goals.
Moat's long kickoff drop by Belser in the end zone, and now he's got to down the ball back there.
That could be costly. I'm glad he knew that rule.
Yeah, it's a good thing that he did. Now, Southern will come out and line it up on the 20. We're barely into the fourth quarter. They trail 26-24. I want to thank John Kelling, the stat man tonight, Kevin Beisman, spotter of Northern Iowa, Bobby McAllister, a spotter of Georgia Southern, and Rob Priestley, a spotter of Georgia Southern. Got a full, busy crew up here. Ham's got 71 yards rushing. He's got 90 passing as far as Tracy's stats are concerned. They've clamped on him, though, I'll say that.
They have indeed.
In this second half. He keeps it and comes out to the right and stops and wants to go for a long bomb, and it is incomplete. Broken up very well by Moses Amable, a senior cornerback. Monty Sharp was down. That worked once tonight, but not that time.
In fact, I think Monty was lucky to get that not picked off. I believe he's the one who turned around and knocked it out of Amable's hands as we watch it again, Larry. Here comes Tracy throwing that bomb down there, and, of course, he's on Monty big time. And Monty reaches in there and knocks that ball away. Otherwise, it might have been intercepted. Here's an angle from behind, and we'll get to see it all the way down the field. Here she comes. Great camera work tonight by this crew. Thank you very much.
Second down. Ham going to keep the option and get 10 and get 15 and get 20. He's going to get about 25. He's going to get about 30 or 35 down across the 35. Monty Sharp threw a block for him, and Tracy went from the 20 all the way down to where his knee hit the ground coming across the 35. Henry Saxon, an outside linebacker, got him, but he got a total of 45 yards. Tracy Ham, watch this thing here.
He just runs by some folks, and of course he does the old Tracy magic here. They've even named this thing the Ham Bone in his honor. Let's buy some more folks.
Georgia Southern down by 2. Harris, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 yards. First down to about the 24. Dave McCorvey had to knock him down, the safety man. Here went Gerald Harris, the fullback, the junior out of Swainsboro, just blowing up in there for 11.
Looked like he carried Vance Pike on his back with him for a while there. Vance Pike, by the way, a Kodak All-American.
Out of Warner Robins, a big senior, trying to block and keep him going.
Pike has been terrific. He's a transfer in from Auburn, and, boy, we are glad to have him.
Gary Miller of Augusta has come in. Gerald Harris out at the fullback. Gary Miller, a freshman. Georgia Southern in white knocking on the door. Trailing 26-24 very early here in this fourth quarter. 3 wideouts left, 1 to the right. The students hollering at him. He wanted audible, I think. He's going to run the option. He ran by one guy and then kept spinning and went down inside the 15. He's close to a first down. Again, Saxon got him. The first man had got him.
Here we go as we watch it again, Larry.
Oh, they're going to measure this. Here comes Tracy. Got a block and cut in.
And he spins away from one guy.
Yeah.
He finally gets down by another. Andy, what do you got on the sidelines here?
We've got kudos for Vance Pike. If you want to talk about an All-American, you should see him on this series. He led Ham on that long 45-yard run. Then he just paved the way for Gerald Harris a play ago. And, of course, just recently, he threw a nice trap block. Watch Vance Pike the rest of this drive.
Just talking about him there, Andy. Thank you very much.
First down by 2 inches, huh?
That's right.
Here's Southern knocking on Northern Iowa's door on the 13 and a half. They're close to the 13-yard line. They're 2 points down. 3 wideouts right. One of them goes back in motion. And here goes Gerald Harris in the corner. Touchdown. Gerald Harris bursting off outside that left tackle, and Harris has shoved Georgia Southern back on top, 30-26, but there's a lot of time left. Watch this here.
You see that on the Statesboro contingent there, and watch Harris break off. He faked everybody out, didn't he?
Boy, that linebacker just completely made an error on the outside on that right side. Never saw him till he got by him. 13-10 to play. That much time. All of a sudden, they're cutting each other up again, and they're acting, what are they going to do, go for 2?
I believe they might just go for 2 here because of the field goal percentage. Yeah, that's
30-26.
Yep, Tracy's still in the ball game. They're going to go for 2 points.
There's so much time left, there could still be a whole bunch of scoring. Remember how that first quarter went. 3 wideouts, one of them in motion. He fakes, he pitches to the back. He's going to have to hurry and bang. He might be shy by 8 inches.
8 inches is right.
Ricky Harris got hit by Fuller first, the safety man.
Take one more look at it. Just as we watch it here, pitch goes out to Harris. This is usually the bread and butter play here for the Eagles, but he gets trapped in here and does not make it into the end zone.
Timeout. Southern leads 30-26. We'll be back in a moment.
Farmers, get ready for first-class football. The Georgia Southern Eagles are first class all the way. Follow the 85 Eagles on Georgia Southern's home station WJCL TV 22 as Bill Edwards hosts the Irk Russell Show, Sunday nights at 11 on TV 22. You'll see game highlights, and you'll hear comments from Coach Russell. Sunday nights at 11 only on WJCL TV 22, Savannah's total sports station.
A little over 13 minutes. That's a lot of time for a lot of points. Where these two clubs have gone, 30-26, Southern takes the lead back. They've gone from one end to the other on this scoreboard, just flopping it back and forth.
It's the kind of football we've been seeing from Georgia Southern ever since they started their football program again in 1981, Larry.
Trey Harold going to kick.
We'd like to see some folks come to Statesboro for the ball games. Beats a drive to Athens for a lot of us in south of Georgia.
Kickoff, booming long and deep. He's going to take it right on the corner by the pylon to the 5 to the 10 of the 15. Try to get back off that sideline and then try to come back in the middle and got knocked hard in the 26.
Flag on the play.
That was Scott Owens, senior flanker, and checked the penalty flag that fell far away.
16-yard line.
Northern Iowa will put it in play.
Flipping.
Wesley Lee was on the tackle, the linebacker.
That'll back him up 15 yards.
Penalty on Northern Iowa to hurt, make them longer to go. Time plays 80 yards on that drive.
Minute and 42 seconds.
30-26, Georgia Southern leading. Harris, 122 yards at 39 carries, huh? Ball on the 8. Now, let me check the number of carries.
Gerald Harris became the leading rusher for
11 carries. All right, he had 61 yards, I know, on the first burst. Ball on the 8. Flag down, and Peebles coming outside for Northern Iowa, cuts back in and gets 5 yards. Check the penalty, however. Maurice Barron, the defensive end,
or penalty or something there.
Leaned in there. And Durham, the linebacker, Milton Gore, the safety man, hit him for Southern. Northern Iowa retreating, 12:57 to go. Northern Iowa is behind in their own ballpark by 4, 30-26, trying to go to the state of Washington and get in the national championship game. Southern led 7-0. Southern led 14-7. Southern led 17-14. Then Northern Iowa started taking short 3-point leads. Now they've swapped them back and forth. Ball on about the 3 after that penalty. First down. 4-yard penalty. 1st and 14. Half the distance to the goal. With the corner up or the linebacker up, it's almost a 5-man front. Mike Smith going, gets deflected. Big lineman hit it on the air.
John Richardson got a hold of that.
John Richardson of Jacksonville, a senior defensive end. Batted the ball down, 2nd down.
Watch Richardson get up here, Larry. For a big guy, he moves very quickly. Look how high he jumps there and bats that one down. In fact, somebody might have had a chance to pick that one off.
Look at here, Bill. At the moment, these two teams have 864 yards total offense between them.
Word.
2nd down, 14. Northern Iowa back there inside of their own 5. They're 4 points behind. They split 2 men to the left and 1 to the right. Southern in white, 4-man front. Mike Smith throw a little screen over on the right side to Peebles with some blockers, and the Eagles catch him after about 4 or 5 yards. Wesley Lee, a High Springs, Florida, the linebacker, was the first man, and then Nay Young, the cornerback, came up. See how many yards are given. Put it up on the 9. Technically gained 4.5. Let's call it 3rd and 9. Gain was about 5 yards. 3rd down, 9. 12:04 to play. Southern leading Northern Iowa 30-26. 11:58 now, less than that. But that's so much time the way they've moved it on each other. Big third down play here, possibly. Mike Smith decides to run straight ahead and then veer off to the right to the 10, and he can only do a step out of bounds. He won't go anywhere there. Rossignol, Rover, was coming across over there. Going to force him out, really. 4th and 9, and Northern Iowa's going to have to punt from the 10-yard line.
Is this their first punt?
No, second.
Second, okay.
Natuso.
That's right.
11:42, the clock stopped. 4th down, about 8.5. No rush on. They try to set up a return. Boy, hung it up in the air. Tony Belser backing, all the way finally to the 40, and hit right away on the 44.5. Timeout on the field. Southern leads 30-26. Back in a minute.
Well, you just witnessed Georgia Southern's best defensive surge. Maurice Barron led a very tough front four that time. John Richardson, Jesse Jenkins also back in. Mike Smith couldn't go anywhere. Upstairs to you, Larry.
All right, Andy. Southern's got the ball on their own 44.5 as a wave is trying to go around the Unidome. There's so much time, however. One back with 2 slots, 2 wideouts. Man in motion. Go to the fullback. Harris drives 5 or 6. Gerald Harris came in the game with 14 touchdowns. Got a couple tonight. Mark Farley, a junior linebacker, hit him. Georgia Southern trying to move it on the ground. Plenty of time left. They lead 30-26.
Second and 4.
They have not run an offense or run games this year, Larry, for the weak-hearted.
No, I can see that. Second down, 3.5, maybe 4. Actually 4. They're across the 50. Harris drives. He may have penetrated to the 45 and got a first down.
He got a first, I'm sure. If that's where they put his forward progress, yes, that's where they do. They've already called it first down.
Price and Campbell, the 2 inside defensive guards or tackles, as they were on a 4-man front, though they don't stay in a 4. Met him head on, but he got the yards. He needed 5, and that's what he got. First down, Georgia Southern on Northern Iowa's 45. Slot man in motion, and Ham keeps it. Needs a block. Not a block there, though. Not enough of one. They got him on the 42. He only got 3 yards. Jeff Bales, the big sophomore defensive end, waited for him and yanked him down.
Made a great play on that, Larry. He has been known to break for long, long runs on that play.
2nd and 7. Georgia Southern on Northern Iowa's 42. 4-point lead.
For a team that has not seen an option this year, this season, they've done well, Larry.
Yes, they have. They're in a 4-man front, kind of a 4-3 now. He fakes to the fall. Here comes Ham outside. Over the 35-34. I think he stepped down and got a first down. Joe Fuller, the safety man, was coming up and went out with Tracy Ham. Didn't have a lot of room, but he had enough to get 8 yards and a first down, and Georgia Southern's trying to knock on the door again. 10:01 to play, and they lead 30-26. Ross Worsham of Camilla has come in at the tight end for Herman Barron. Obviously with the play for the Eagles. Tracy Ham, 139 yards rushing, 17 carries. Kind of a wing T wide on the left, but the man starts in motion, and he keeps it, and he tries to cut in and almost pitched it as he went down in the 30. Barely got 3 because Henry Saxon played it well. Big senior linebacker. Ham got 3, 2nd and 7. Still a lot of time, 9:44, though Southern is using some clock up on this thing. Now they lead 30-26.
They're definitely within Tim Foley's range now, Larry, and that will put them up by a touchdown.
You can't take it all for granted now. He's missed one tonight. He's human.
That's
of course, he tried to go for a school record.
56 yards, yeah.
He fakes the full, and now he pitches, fumbling out of bounds. Kicked out by a rookie Harris. So it's still Southern's ball. Ham, a dangerous pitch. Yeah, when that ball hit that knee of Ricky Harris from Harlem, Georgia.
Yeah, let's see if we can watch it
here. First down on it, I think, about 8.5 yards.
At least. Trying to pitch it here and watch it as it sort of squibs off of his foot.
A gift first down.
My heavens.
Got, 8 or 9 maybe off that thing. Here's Georgia Southern on Northern Iowa's 19. They're about an inch or two outside of the 19. They lead 30-26, but there's a lot of time, better than 9 minutes. Tracy Ham going to run to the fullback, and Gerald Harris drives. Boy, he's driving right here where Carter and Pike, I think, are lined up. Pike from Warner Robins and Carter next to him from Thomaston. Beals and Price, defensive end and tackle. Trying to stop the play, but he got 4, 2nd and 6. Tracy Ham hollering over at the sideline, trying to get the play. Yeah,
great night.
143 yards, 14 carries. You better watch the time. 3 wideouts left and 1 to the right. Tracy Ham, man on motion. Fumbled the ball.
I think he dropped back on it.
He may have recovered for no gain. Tracy dropped on it. What is it I said a little while ago, or didn't I say it? I was going to say we've hardly seen a fumble tonight.
They've made very few mistakes on either side, and
that could be big, I'll tell you.
Here he goes to hand it off.
He actually had it.
Yeah. He tried to pull it back out.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Lucky with this turf, he recovered. 3rd down, 6.5. Georgia Southern, very, very big 3rd down play. They're barely outside the 15. 8:03, 8:02 to go. Crowd is roaring, trying to bother him, and Tracy Ham tells the official, I can't hear. Now, is the official going to cooperate? I guess he will. He stopped the clock.
That's the second time tonight that Tracy's turned around and asked the official for help, and the official for the second time said no, and then finally agreed with him after Tracy made a little more of a plea there, Larry.
7:55. Now the official goes in the huddle and talks to Tracy.
I think he's telling him it really wasn't that bad.
That is something that needs to be fixed in the rule book, Bill, at every level, including the NFL.
Right.
It needs to be fixed.
Did you notice, Larry, a few times Mike Smith, the quarterback for Northern Iowa, turning around and giving hand signals the way they teach in combat? I think that might be what they have to come up with or something.
Southern up to the line. The Northern University students, Northern Iowa, are starting to work again. Now they call the defensive captain up and say something to him, but only for a moment. Mark Farley. Southern, 3rd down, 6 or 6.5 maybe. They're roaring at Southern again. Ham going to keep it and going to pitch it out to Harris, and Harris got horse-collared from behind after 3.5 yards. Ricky Harris. Dave McCorvey playing it well, a big 207-pound freshman. An extra defensive back in there.
They played the pitch well.
Oh, they did. Watch the play he's going to make. It looked like this guy was going to get a lot of yards.
Yeah, Harris, somebody missed a block in there somewhere. They got him right around the collar. Yanked him down. Here comes Foley.
Monty Sharp going to hold it. Who's the snapper, Bill? Ball in the 19. The kick, he kicked it a mile, and he kicked it good, and Southern leads 33-26. 7:14 to play. Timeout. Southern out by 7. Back in a moment. All right, Andy, what do you got over there?
We've got a game that is getting more and more physical, Larry. Stan Stipe and Jeff Evans on that field goal play, both just now a little banged up by some Panthers. I talked to an official, and they say there is some head knocking out there. Larry?
All right, Andy. Southern will be kicking off with a 7-point lead. 7 minutes and 14 seconds to go. 33-26. Trey Harrell to kick off. Gonzalez is one of the deep men. I think Owens is the other. The kick sailing deep and high, way back 8 or 9 yards. Owens can only down it for Northern Iowa. 7:14. Now, the Panthers. Will they try to suddenly throw a bomb? That's one of the first things they tried to do tonight, by the way. Bill.
Larry, they have Georgia Southern certainly ate up a lot of time on that last scoring drive, taking 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go 43 yards, 9 plays, and a 29-yard field goal there by Tim Foley.
But I know the coaches would feel a lot better with 8 or 9 points instead of 7. Here comes Peebles outside. He's going to turn and cut back, and they shut the door on him as he jumped in. Somebody recovered. Milton Gore, I believe, of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Robert Underwood from Statesboro, the linebacker, may have been the man that shut that door first as he cut back.
And the eventuality of a tie, Larry, they've got an interesting way to break them in this
It's too complicated. Let's not talk about it. 2nd and 9. NCAA Division I AA. Semifinals. Cedar Falls, Iowa, 2nd and 9. Mike Smith with 3 wideouts. Bootlegs back, looks down the middle, and a one-handed catch sliding on his back.
Great catch by Carl Boyd.
Carl Boyd, what a catch. I hope we can get a look at this thing. Holy smokes.
Here it comes again.
What a catch.
Mike Smith just rifles this right down the middle. Wesley Lee trying to get after it, and look at that one-handed catch by Carl Boyd. Just amazing. Great runner. Now he's proven he can catch it downfield.
24, 25 yards, whatever it was, great catch, and didn't drop it when he slammed in the turf. 6-10, Northern Iowa trying to save themselves. They go to Peebles with blocking. One man from behind grabbed him, and that's Jesse Jenkins of Bonaire, Georgia. Grabbed his shirt and wouldn't let him out to that tackle where he wanted to cut back. 5:56 to go. Lee, the linebacker, came up to help him. 2nd down, 10 or 10 and a fraction. 5:49 to play. Northern Iowa going to run in another tight end and another lineman. Cook has come in at a guard. Eric White has come in at a flanker. Northern Iowa 2nd down, a little better than 10. They're on their own 44. 5:32 to play, and they're 7 down. Mark Smith coming out here, chased behind the line, looking down the field, looking, stops, fires, broken up on the 35. Nay Young again, I think,
Young,
from
I believe,
Savannah.
Beautiful
Scott
play.
Frankie had come across, was open for a 2nd and a half. 5:22 to play.
There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Check the flag.
Looks like they're going to walk it off to Southern.
Eligible receiver.
Toss it down.
Yes, it would be. 5:22, 33-26, Southern leading by 7.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it here. I'm not sure we're going to be able to catch it or not. Eddie Johns coming in there trying to get Smith. No luck there. Smith rolling out. I don't know who he's got down there. But Nay Young coming over again, making a beautiful play, just taking it right out of his hands.
3rd down, 15 after the loss of the down. Northern Iowa up on the 39-yard line. Split the backs, 2 wideouts left and 1 to the right. Big 3rd down play here. Mike Smith drops back for the Panthers. Wants a screen. Being chased. Going to the sidelines. Fires. Complete on the 45. Great catch. Eric White, a junior, who came in 2 plays ago. Nay Young hit him. Boy, he scrambled and waited for the man to turn and come back. Young and Russignol, and they got about 20 yards on it. And here they are on Southern's 40, and boy, was that a big play.
Watch it again, Larry. That was big, and Eric White we haven't even heard from tonight, but boy, he sure made his presence known in a hurry. As Smith eludes a tackler, fires upfield. You figure he's just firing this out of desperation. Look who's got it.
Makes your secondary relax a little when a man runs around that much. He fakes to the back, and he's coming to left. Down the middle, complete on the 24, 23.
Sherrod Howard again.
Howard again, the tight end, and here's Northern Iowa. Milton Gore and Terry Young. Gore a safety man, and Young a corner, yanked him down. But here's Northern Iowa all the way back down the field. I don't know how many completions they have, but they got a lot of yards to the air, and they're trying to save themselves here. 4:41 to play. Southern leads 33-26, 4th quarter. Winner goes to the national championship playoff. Three wide outs, back split about 7 yards, and they go to one of them, Boyd, and Boyd caught from behind as he came outside to tackle, but got about 3 or 4.
Wesley Lee got him.
Wesley Lee, the linebacker from High Springs, Florida, but got a good 4, 2nd and 6. Clock running. If they get the touchdown, they would obviously go for 2 to try to win it that way. It would depend upon how much time was left.
Makes that 2-point conversion that Georgia Southern missed real big now, doesn't it, Larry?
Yes, it does. All of a sudden, it does. And the long field goal missed. 2nd down, about 6. Mike Smith fakes. He's sprinting out to the right side. Got a block behind him. Fires. And a catch right in traffic on the 1-yard line by Scott Frankie.
Frankie made a gorgeous play on that.
Great catch. 3 white shirts there. They'll be goal to go on the 1. They can score here probably and try to go for 2 with 3:44 to go. These two teams just keep coming back up and down the field.
What a play. Great catch by Frankie at the 1.
Boy.
Back the ball just a little bit past the 1-yard line hash mark.
Big tackle Bill Beals, who weighs 292, waved at the Northern Iowa students, told them to be quiet. They put 2 tight ends in there, and they go to Boyd, and Boyd got hit and driven back, and they have lost a yard or so. Jesse Jenkins, one of the men there for sure. And Danny Durham, the linebacker, the junior out of Albany, and the ball, he lost 2 yards back to the 3. Look at the clock, 3:02, 3:01. There's a lot of time, really, the way these two clubs have moved anyway. 2nd down, Northern Iowa. They don't want to make a mistake here. They're 7 points behind. 2:50 to go now, and the clock running. Almost an 8-man front. And he saw daylight, and Boyd scores at the tackle. And now you're 33 to 32, and they'll go for 2 to try and win it with that. So again, I've been saying there's lots of time.
Here we go again. And right on in as he goes through the crease there, going by Terry Young, touchdown.
That big Beals, I guess, 6'6", 292 senior.
No, they're not going to try to go for 2, Larry, unless they're going to fake it.
They're going to try to tie it up with Kevin Moat. That's what they're acting like. They're 1 point down. I guess they figure they're 1 point and the tie is automatic. They set it down, and he sticks it up there in the air, and the kick is good, and we're all tied, 33 to 33. And Southern's going to get the ball with 2:44 to go. Man.
Well, we've been here before, haven't we?
Well, gosh.
Well, we want to thank you folks for joining us on the Lewis Broadcasting Sports Network. Have we got a dandy for them tonight?
Oh, yeah. Some people who may have missed the first quarter, these two guys were 14 to 14 on each other after about, I think, 11 and a half minutes. Just literally pounding each other's head with offense. 970 yards total now between the two teams. And keep in mind, this is not a Brigham Young type thing where somebody's dumping out little 5-yard passes and flaring them out to the backs and stuff and throwing it 45 times and trying to complete 36 short ones. The passes have been much deeper than that. Now, 2:44 to go. Look at the clock. Scoreboard is 33 to 33. National championship shot is hanging up in the sky. The sky, by the way, is gray and cold and full of snow. Moat kicks very high, not overly deep, going to make them run it. Belcher on the 7, 10-15. Hit awfully hard, especially the second lick on the 22, Tony Belcher. Boy, I saw his head snap on that second one. Dave McCorvey on the kick-covering team, a 207-pound freshman who, by the way, plays safety. Look at that. They went 80 yards in 10 plays. You know, they moved it so well, Bill, they may figure, well, if we get the ball back, we can move it on these guys.
Move it
we'll
again,
just
yeah.
pass them to death.
Georgia Southern has been vulnerable to the pass.
Ball on the 22 and a half. 2:39 to play. Georgia Southern in white. Tracy Ham walks up to the line. Tie ball game, 33-33. Man starts in motion. The fullback, Harris, drives to the 30 or 31. Mark Farley, the linebacker, the first guy that knocked him down.
Look at the yardage. There's the breakdown there, Larry.
Look at that. 5:38, 4:32. Isn't that something?
When was the last time you remember doing that?
Second down, 2. 3 wideouts left, 1 to the right. Tracy Ham looks at a 7-man front. So the fullback comes off the other tackle and drives all the way to the 44. Gee, Harris just blew out there, and I think he got about 10, 11 yards. McCorvey hit him. Moses, a corner, hit him. He really came. He maybe got 12 or 13 yards to the 44. 2 minutes. 1:58, clock running, 33-33. Bill, your adrenaline moving a little bit here.
Just a touch, Larry.
Georgia Southern on the 44. Northern Iowa students standing up trying to bother the Eagles. Tracy Ham looking at a 6-man line. He fakes, and he's going to pitch it to Ricky. 45-50, 45-40. Ricky Harris came flying down. McCorvey again, who was a great big kid, a freshman.
Somebody made a nice block on the outside. If we get the chance to take a look at it one more time, Ricky Harris taking that pitch, and again, the option working the way it has a little bit in the past. They weren't able to pick him up this time, and he picked up some nice yardage around that right side.
Almost 16 yards, not quite. Ball outside the 40. 87, 86, 85 seconds, 84 seconds, 33-33. And the Eagles up to the line. 78, 77 seconds, 76 seconds. Tracy Ham, they want to blitz in the middle. The fullback, 5, 10, 15, 18, 20 yards. 67 seconds to go. And Spencer Cowan, the outside linebacker, yanked him down from behind. Watch the clock and watch the scoreboard. The Eagles have come driving back. They move it back just outside the 20. Now the clock starts again, 33-33. Tracy Ham went halfway to the sidelines to holler at the coaches. 59, 58 seconds. Find out the timeout totals. 53, 52 seconds. Georgia Southern up to the line. The ball is maybe a half a foot, not quite that much, I guess, outside of the 20. 3 wideouts left and 1 to the right. Ham trying to holler at him. 40, 39. Tracy comes outside. Tracy's got a block. Touchdown, touchdown. Watch this, Bill.
Unbelievable.
Look at this. A block on the corner and a block up head.
He saw something, Larry. He called that audible.
Oh.
Nobody, Irk Russell said it last week, no quarterback in the country runs the option as well as Tracy. I believe it.
39-34, Southern by 6, but now remember, there's 34 seconds, and the other guy can throw the ball.
Can he ever?
They set it down low snap, but he got it up anyway, and he put it in there, and now it's 40-33 with 34 seconds. And now what are they going to do? I'll tell you one thing. Even the people tomorrow who have a baggage call at 4:30 a.m. in our Holiday Inn, even those people will never go to bed tonight if that scoreboard stays that way.
You're probably right, Larry.
I don't think you and I will either. 34 seconds.
You haven't got the 4:30 a.m. baggage call, though.
What was it I said to Nate Hirsch? No, I was smart. I changed my reservation. I think I was smart. It depends on how much snow there is now. I said something at that table this afternoon. I said, what, 41-40 and 4 overtimes? Look at it. It's 40-33. We don't have an overtime unless something terrible is going to happen here. Now, Trey Harold, will they bounce and squib it and roll it on the ground to make the clock move? Or will they just kick it a mile? 40-33.
Trey can do either. I think he's probably going to squib it, Larry. I think he's the way he's looking at the football, he's moving it sideways. He's rubbing
the people that killed themselves on the 24-hour ride on that bus or that van. Look at that.
On the sidelines there. David Hodge, a sophomore.
Don't count your chickens before they roost. Trey Harold going to kick off. Watch a return play here. 34 seconds. Georgia Southern's trying to go to the national championship. Long, booming thing. They're going to make them go 80 yards. Boy, you talk about pass defense now. It won't be nickelback. It'll probably be 7 backs.
Yeah.
Now, One of the Southern linemen jumped up in the air trying to... That was Donnie Allen of Live Oak. Andy, what do you got? Andy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Larry. Unbelievable over here. The Southern Boosters all of a sudden going sky high, and I think you guys called it right up there. Tracy Ham is picking the very last moment and running the ham bone to perfection. A couple of times it looked like he could
All right,
give
Mike
for
Smith
some room.
going back. Mike Smith down the middle, and there's a man there, and they hit him, and then it rolled out of his hands. And Southern has jumped on the ball. They're going to rule it incomplete. Boy, he hit a man flying.
He was clobbered. And that was...
Anthony Price, who had it on a tough catch, and then they knocked him. Ham's got 162 yards rushing. Brad Bowen, the guy that hit him.
We'll watch it again, Larry. Here he goes.
And did you know that guy broke open? This thing is not over.
27 seconds still left, and here we go. And if it hadn't have been for this great hit, once again,
boy,
that is
Brad Bowen,
Panama
City,
who's had
Florida.
some great plays tonight.
Second down, 80 yards to go, 24 seconds. Long bomb, and it is intercepted down on the 38-yard line. Nay Young of Savannah to the 40, knocked down on the 45, and now Southern can smell it. Deep interception, he overthrew him, 17 seconds. Georgia Southern may go to a national championship, 40-33. Back and forth on the scoreboard all night long. They're flying directly back tonight, aren't they?
No, I believe...
I thought I heard... No, they're going directly back.
Are they going directly back?
That's
okay, well, they've got a charter. Well, folks, we'll let you know when they'll be back in in Savannah, and then from Statesboro, they'll fly into Savannah. Here's Nay Young. Nay Young out of Savannah.
Have Andy find out when the plane is supposed to land. I'm sure Southern is supposed to come directly back after the game.
Okay.
Though I would say it'd be 4.5 hours from this moment.
Southern wants a timeout, I believe.
17 seconds. 40-33.
Both teams have all three of their timeouts. If that makes any difference now, Larry. What a ball game, huh?
Yep. Tacoma, Washington, apparently, and so they'll pick up two schools who are real close to each other, Furman and Georgia Southern, in the infinite wisdom of the NCAA, and move them thousands of miles where they may not sell enough tickets and make that school pay a fine like they made Northern Iowa pay a $45,000 fine a week ago.
Let's hope not.
The rules are so strange. I'm really wondering if the 1912 Olympic Committee didn't set most of them up. 17 seconds, 40-33. I'm not asking for a home game. I'm just saying, why don't they play it somewhere where they know they're going to sell 40,000 tickets or something? Unbelievable. Tracy Ham's touchdown run, then came a long bomb, and they knocked it out of his hands barely, and then he went a little too deep. He went a little too deep. He'd been hitting 20, 22-yarders right down the middle. Now they'll just try to smother the ball and then just jump out of their socks in joy. He steps back and steps back. He's trying to make the clock run, and then finally he goes down. He deliberately retreated kind of in slow motion, 4 or 5 yards behind the line, and the clock now is starting to run down. 2 seconds, 1 second, and Georgia Southern is going to go to Tacoma, Washington, 40-33, and a stunning thing here. And the club that had already chartered a 350-seat airplane is going to stay home. A stunning offensive show. Just unbelievable thing to look at here. Bill and I will come back to you. Well, wait a minute now. Let me take a look now. There's just too much going on in the middle of the field here, and I don't know what happened to Andy. He fell in love early in the evening with a tremendous Northern Iowa cheerleader. He may finally have found her.
He may have, Larry. We'll find out after we come back after this.
Southern won at 40-33. Andy Barron, you got somebody down there near the locker room?
I've got a couple special guests with me. Eddie Johns on my right, Nay Young of Savannah to my left. Eddie, let's start with you. An unbelievable ball game. Did you think they would ever not score? Did you think you'd stop them?
It was unbelievable. I hoped that we could, and thank God we did a couple of times and when we needed it. Just an unbelievable game, and great. Glad we won.
Nice adjustment in the second half.
Well, yeah, we tried to just bleed slow and keep them out of the end zone. Let them kick field goals, fine, but keep them out of the end zone, and we did a pretty good job of it.
Eddie, great job. Nay Young, you've got a message, I think, out west.
Yeah, we coming to Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma, Washington, Georgia Southern from Statesboro, Georgia.
All right, thanks, Nate. One last piece of information, Larry and Bill. Georgia Southern should be arriving in Savannah tonight between 2 and 3 o'clock. They'll immediately head for Hanner Fieldhouse in Statesboro. They should hit the Fieldhouse about 3. Larry, Bill?
All right. Now, what was that, Edwards, that you told me that Eric Russell did before? Was it this afternoon?
This was the psychological move, Larry.
Some water?
He brought some water from, what is it, Eagle Creek or something that runs along behind Georgia Southern. He put it in a jug.
Yeah.
He brought it over here yesterday when they came to look at this place for the first time. He sprinkled some in the end zone, sprinkled it down in the middle of the field, sprinkled it in the other end zone. He said that will keep the Panthers out and let the Eagles in.
Well, a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns as it turned out. But the Eagles got more. Well, this has been some night, needless to say. 40-33. If the planes can leave on time, I guess we'll all get home. I'll tell you one thing, that charter with Irk and the coaches and the squad on it's going to rock and roll in the air. I think the wind will be a tailwind. That might help a little bit, too.
I believe
they'll be wide awake when they land in Savannah. And the bus ride, I guess that's what it is.
About an hour to Statesboro.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty good ride, too.
So they'll be back 3 or 4 in the morning.
For the rest of us, if the Eskimos didn't run away with the dogs or eat the dogs, we're going to get back to the Holiday Inn, maybe. It was something. 40-33. Southern has won it. They're going to play Furman in the national championship next week out of Tacoma, Washington. This crew is large. We've had a whole bunch of people working. I mentioned 4 or 5 names before. There's too many names, and I don't know them all. I want to thank everybody who has helped us. Southern has won it 40-33. They'll see you next week, I think, on national television.
That'll be on ESPN, Larry. And again, we want to thank all the people from KAKE Productions out of Wichita, Kansas, Stars, the folks in the satellite, folks out of Houston, and we really do appreciate it. We thank everybody for joining us on the Turner. The Turner. Look at where I am. Gee whiz. The Lewis. Well, I may not have a job. I don't need to go back. From the Lewis Broadcasting Sports Network, and we'll see you when we get back to Savannah. I'll hear about this. Good night.
This NCAA sports matchup has been brought to you by Old Fashioned Claxton Fruitcake, a tradition of quality since 1910, by the Kidney Stone Center of Southeast Georgia at Memorial Medical Center in Savannah, and by Spanky's of Savannah, Georgia, home of the original chicken fingers, by the C&S National Banks in Georgia, by Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza delivers. And by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Georgia. Coke is it. This has been a special sports presentation of WJCL-TV in cooperation with the Athletic Department of Georgia Southern College and the University of Northern Iowa, and has come to you live from the Unidome Stadium in Cedar Falls, Iowa.